Hey guys, welcome back. Glad you're here with me. On this episode of the podcast, this is my longest one ever. It's 3 hours. I basically just in its entirety explained my journey in Colombia to go do ayahuasca in the jungle in the western side of the Amazon. And yeah, I get into great detail and it came out a lot longer than I thought it would, but I had the most profound experience in my life, so I figured I'd tell you guys everything in detail. That's how it is. If you want to get straight to when I took the ayahuasca, go to the 40-minute mark. Before that, it's me talking about my experience getting there and just describing the place and the environment. But if it gets too long for you, just skip right ahead. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for listening. Enjoy. And Happy New Year, you filthy animals.
I said so long, carry on, 'cause the devil wants to take me for a ride.
Welcome back. It's been a while, hasn't it? How long has it been? It's been a little bit. I feel like it's been a solid chunk of time, hasn't it? Since we last talked. How you doing? Welcome back to Get Your Act Together with Mike Bain. I'm feeling a little bit rusty venture. I'm sitting here. I got my brand new microphone. That's right. Fixed many of my microphone problems. And as you can see if you're watching this video, I'm not in Colombia anymore. I am in the snow-covered wastes of New Hampshire. Beautiful, isn't she? So, when you guys last left me, I was preparing to go to the Colombian Amazon. I was going to go into the jungle and do ayahuasca. And I did. And it was so much more than I ever expected it to be. This podcast is going to be me telling you about my journey there. So if you were looking for something different, this is me recounting my journey. I might have to do it in two parts because not only is my journey there important and what happened to me was important, but what happened to me after and me trying to reintegrate back into the U.S. is important too. So we'll see how this works out. I'm not sure. Anyway, wow. To start off, I'm just going to say this. The journey I went on was in itself kind of frightening, just going to where I went to, going out there, being far outside my comfort zone. The experience of the ayahuasca itself was hands down the most terrifying, anxiety-inducing, painful, stressful, and without a doubt, the hardest thing I've ever fucking done in my life. And I've done some hard shit. And in the end, it was the most beautiful experience of my entire life. There's a fear that people have when they do hallucinogens, that they're going to do an acid trip or do a mushroom trip, and they're going to be different. They just won't go back to who they necessarily were. And I can assure you with ayahuasca, if done right, you won't go back to who you were. And you're not going to want to go back to who you were because I have spent the better part of the 3 weeks since I've been home fighting, desperately fighting not to go back to who I was. I have changed. I have been changed in a way that I didn't think possible. I had my come to God moment. I had everything you'd expect out of a spiritual journey into the jungle, and then some. And I'm going to get into all of it, but I just wanted to lead with that. It's like, people want to ask me what it's like. It's like everyone has a different experience, but for me, it was like taking 100 tabs of acid at once. It was like eating an entire ounce of mushrooms. So, without further ado, I'm going to just get into this. I think if you don't want to listen to the whole story, here's my summary. It was the most powerful hallucinogen I have ever done in my fucking life. and the experience I had showed me another way of living outside of my own culture and my own way of life, my own technological consumerist way of life. And that way of life doesn't have anxiety and crippling depression and never-ending stress. It's a way with far less anger and frustration. It was a better way. So here we go. So when I left, I'm going to try and intersperse this with some videos and some audio from my trip, just so you know. We'll see how that works out. When I left and I went to Bogota. I was going to hang out in Bogota for about 5 nights. Bogota is the capital city of Colombia. It reminded me very much of Mexico City, which is a large Latin American city with sprawling slums on the edge of the city that just go out. An intense level of smog. Smog in Bogota is fucking brutal because unlike Mexico City, it has no metro system. It just they tried to have a metro system several decades before, and about $60 billion was fucking squandered. Maybe it was just 60 million. It was an absurd amount of money was just completely squandered that was supposed to go into building a metro or subway system. And it was just squandered. It was robbed. This is very common in Latin America. And so the smog is bad. The altitude, Bogota is 8,000 feet above sea level. Between 6,000 and 8,000 feet. I want to say 8,000 feet above sea level. So I was getting headaches. The altitude sickness is not fun. It actually sucks. It really sucks. You feel kind of ill. You feel dizzy. You have headaches. It's not fun at all. And any sort of, the second you start walking upstairs and doing a strenuous activity, you feel like every breath I take needs to be 10 breaths, 'cause it's Bogota and it's fucking high and I'm kinda chubby. And I was walking, dude. I went through it. Bogota's kind of crazy in that I didn't really get out of the neighborhood I was staying in too much, because Bogota, as I've said, transit sucks. You have to be careful. You got to take an Uber because cabs will openly rob you. They'll like make up numbers. You got to be careful with cabs in Bogota. Bogota, unlike the other parts of Bogota, more than Cartagena, Medellin, or anywhere else I went, they were like, be fucking careful as a foreigner. There were not a lot of foreigners there. It was just, even though it was a capital city, there weren't a ton of tourists. And if you would walk from one neighborhood to another neighborhood, you would end up just walking into a slum, right? Like you'd be like, hey, I'm outside the Colombian Congress, their version of it, their government, national government building. And then 2 blocks later, you're like, oh, I'm going to fucking die. I'm going to die. And I'm walking through here, gringo as fuck, with a GoPro, right? Like there were people grilling me. And then even I was outside a museum eating some ants. Some ants. They were called big ass ants. I was eating some ants, some mesquite barbecue ants. And a group of kids walked up to me. It was Monday. It was a holiday. It was celebrating the Battle of Cartagena. So everyone had the day off. And this was very funny to me. They started taking pictures with me. And they started asking, like they were so excited. They'd never seen a ginger before. I was such an oddity to them. They came over and giggled and shook my hand and took pictures with me and was so blown away by who I was. I don't know. I didn't know anything about me. It's not like they thought I was a YouTuber even. I didn't have my camera on. They were just like, who is this guy? And it was fun. It was a really cool experience. And this homeless woman came over and she was like, who is this guy? And then she started hitting on me. And I was like, you know, should I? I'm gonna be real. It thought crossed my mind, but she had dirt on her cheek, and I was like, Mike, what are you doing? You can't. I was staying at a hostel at that point. I was like, you can't be bringing homeless bitches back to the hostel, Mike. What are you doing? What if she would have rocked my world? What if that would have been the best pussy I've had in my life? Anyway, I'll get Bogota. I'm in Bogota. I'm just being grumpy, okay? I'm just kind of being irritated. My friend Morgana is there, but she's staying in a hostel. I'm staying in a hostel. She's staying in a Airbnb because she's been working there for over a week. She's can work from home, digital nomad type thing. And eventually, at the end of when we get on the airplane to go out to Puerto Asís, which is way out in the jungle, a small, tiny outdoor airport, to go to the jungle, she goes, you've been very, she didn't say pissy, but she goes, very grumpy. And I'm like, Morgana, why didn't you call me out on this earlier? Why? She goes, I don't know. I figured you just would have. And I got mad, and I'm like, this is why men and women fight. If you had told me that I was acting cunty, I would have tried to do something about it. When I'm acting bitchy, I want my friends to call me out on it. I don't want to be that way. And I was. I don't know what it was. I think it was just stressed out about life and stuff, and it came with me, and I was still on my phone. I was still dicking around on my phone. The hostel I was at was so crowded. It was filled with Europeans. Europeans tend to annoy me. They tend to annoy me because they're very spoiled and arrogant and privileged. Not all of them, just the Western ones. Just Germany, the Dutch, the British, and the French. No, it's not all of them either. But I found them a lot. They could be very. They suffer from Western arrogance, which is a belief that their lifestyle and their culture and their moral compass, especially as far as gender and sexuality and all that, their view is the only view and the superior view. And that they suffer from a belief that they have everything to teach the world and nothing to learn, especially when interacting with Americans. So I'm a bit grumpy, and I'm being kind of cunty. And it's, for those of you watching, I did try and film this. I'm working on the project that I started from when I went a year ago. I know it's taken me a year. If you listen to this podcast, you know that I've had a crazy year. I've gone through some wild stuff, and I'm finally getting around to it, really figuring it out. I tried to do that again in the jungle, and I couldn't. I started in Bogota. We ended up leaving Bogota. I got kind of, especially on the last night, I was very pissy because I was talking to a girl. I got an Airbnb. I was hoping to have her over. And then as we go out on our date the second night, she springs upon me that she still kind of has a boyfriend. And I go, you told me you were just out of a relationship. And she's crying to me about her boyfriend. And I'm not mean or anything. I still pick up the tab, something I never normally do. And I go, yeah, all right. And I showed up to meet the people who were coming on this journey with me, because it was just, there's 3 of Morgana's friends and another guy who was a friend of theirs. So I don't know if they want me saying their names, but German guy, his Czech girlfriend, British guy. I don't think Nigel would care. He's British. He's English. And then Joel is from Philly. Morgana, who's from, I used to do stand-up. She's from Seattle originally. I meet up with them. I'm kind of in a shitty mood. And then next morning, we find out as me and Morgana packing up, everyone else left super early in the morning. There's only 2 flights of the day out to this tiny little airport from Bogota. And they're only from Bogota. Getting out to this place is getting tough. And Morgana says to me, she goes, oh, I was talking to Taita's daughter. Now, you're going to hear this word a lot. Taita means shaman. It's also like saying sensei. It's not his Christian name. I won't say his Christian name or his blonde name, because I don't know if you guys can look him up. And I don't want anyone to just hit this guy up, because this is serious shit. And I only want certain people going who are ready to go. If you really want to go, feel free to hit me up and I'll put you in contact. But I'm not going to say his name. Just say Taita. And she goes, Taita's daughter told me that we could come out at night because Morgana was digitally working that day. So we're taking like a flight around later in the afternoon, around 5, 6, and she goes, the guy who's supposed to, so we go to the airport, you then drive, we get a driver. We're going to pay him actually like 350,000 pesos, which is like 70, 80 American dollars, I think, somewhere in that range. And we find out that he's like, I'm not going to drive you all the way. He already drove, I think he drove the people in the morning already. He's like, I'm not doing it all the way. That's 8 hours of drive. I'm not doing it again at night. And so we're like, fuck, what do we do? Thankfully, we find like a small town that he can drop us off at. And Morgana has to call. And here's the thing. If I didn't have people with me who spoke Spanish, I would have been fucked in the ass. Everyone but me and Joel spoke Spanish. And it was a rough fucking... I wouldn't have been able to do it. So if you go, you're going to be able to speak Spanish or know someone, because you will not... You can't get by just pointing at shit. The language barrier is too much. Thankfully, Morgana was able to secure us a room, so we're hoping this room's going to work. We get the airport. Our plane is late. Welcome to Colombia. Shit's late, especially these planes, especially these little planes. And we're waiting. We're worried. Now I'm worried. Because what if this dude doesn't grab us? We're in the middle of nowhere. It's not like there's a hotel outside this airport. You guys got to understand. This airport is in the fucking jungle, and there's not you couldn't call it a town, really. All right? This is former FARC guerrilla territory. FARC. They are a left-wing paramilitary group who had a civil war with the government for decades. When people would think of people being kidnapped in Colombia throughout the 80s and 90s, these are the motherfuckers that were doing it. They would snatch up people from other parts of Colombia, like Bogota, Medellin, Cali, the cities. They didn't go to this part of Colombia. So Colombians haven't been coming to this part of Colombia for a long time. Never mind gringos. So they're not used to seeing outsiders like that. That's very rare. And so this place is it's out there, man. It's like we fly in on a little prop plane with 2 propellers. We get into the airport, and you walk on the tarmac. It's one lane. They did kind of like have a little inside area where your bags would come in, but this is the smallest fucking airport I've ever been in. So I'm like, all right, we're doing this. And the whole time, I'm like kind of riddled with anxiety because I don't know for certain if we're going to get this hotel. I don't know for certain if our driver's going to be there because we haven't been able to message him. He's already acting flaky, and our plane is late by like 90 fucking minutes. All right, so already I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, I know we're going to get there, but this is old me. This is anxious American technology Mike Bain, anxious. We get there. Now, Morgana has done this before, so she's a little more relaxed. But I'm on edge. Like I'm near the Ecuadorian border of Colombia in a very poor place. And I'm sticking out like a sore thumb. It's me and Morgana, who's a Taiwanese-American girl. Me, short Taiwanese-American girl. And we're waiting. Thankfully, he's there. He's outside. He's got a pickup truck. But there's someone else with him. Now I'm like, all right. I didn't know there wasn't supposed to be other people here. That's cool. All right. So, yeah. And then Morgana gets in the truck. She's kind of weary. I can feel her energy change. I look in. There's a third guy in the truck. He's chilling in back. So Morgana's going to sit in the middle seat. I take the window, and we're like, what's up? Now, none of these guys speak English, so I don't know what the fuck is happening. So we proceed to have the quietest. Occasionally, I would talk to Morgana to break the silence, but it is dark. We're out here in rural jungle fucking Colombia. There's no street lights. There's just the light of the moon, and we're driving down random roads, dirt roads, rock roads, like just bouncing. You gotta have. I understand why women in Colombia have fat asses, because when you go down a road there, you are just boom. It hurts. You are no suspension, just fucking breaking your tailbone on every And we're going, and I can't see, but we're out here. And I'm like, if these dudes want to rob us, there's nothing. Like if one of these dudes pulls a gun or a machete, it's like, what can I do? And this is all going through my head. And this is stuff that's going to go through your head. Now, it turns out they're nice guys. But, everything considered, I'm fucking nervous. I'm nervous. I'm in a truck with 3 dudes I don't know driving me into the jungle in a rural part of Colombia that all the other Colombians I've talked to have said, be careful when you go there. I'm a little nervous. I'm pretty good at being chill. And every now and then they turn around and ask us questions, whatever. And I'm just like, all right, just make it through, Mike. It's like, it's been a long day. I'm like, and I realize like, I'm out here. No one's going to save me. If shit goes south, it goes south. And it's me and this girl, and, I don't speak Spanish. Every now and then they say something. I have no idea what's being said. I can deduce some stuff, but I'm not picking up anything. Finally, we come to an area and there's just a light. There's a big light. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's a fucking roadblock. It's a roadblock and it's a checkpoint. The national police, who are we don't have that here in the U.S., but how we have local police, we have, you have your city, town police, your county police, maybe your county sheriff. But usually you have your local police for your town or your city. You then have your state police. And then I guess we have the FBI. They have a national police force, a police that operates throughout the country that is essentially a paramilitary group. And they're military-esque. Paramilitary would mean they're not like part of it. But anyway, police in Colombia, if they want to, will rob you. It's something they will fucking do. And we pull up, they're searching people's cars. They're looking for drugs. They're looking for anything, weapons. You got to remember, there's some big military bases out here because they've been at war out here for a while. So I remember I have cocoa leaves with me that I bought in Bogota. These are used to make cocaine. They're legal to have. But I was warned by someone in my hostel that they might just, give me a hard time for having them because that's where the military is. I wasn't expecting this to happen, and I got them in my bag. They take the 3 locals out. They question them. There is a giant spotlight. There is a guy with a technical truck, truck with a 50 cal in the back, a pickup with a 50 cal in the back. There's 6 to 8 guys with machine guns in fatigues standing around. I can tell these guys are not getting paid that well to do all this. It's probably better than the alternatives, and then I hear them look in. They go, blah, 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 gringos. And I go, fuck. They open my door. They're looking at me and they go, motion to get out. And then the guys I'm with say something to Morgana, and Morgana goes, we got to get out. And they take us out. They proceed to search my little backpack. They search her bag. They put me up against the truck, both of us, and proceed to search us, like physically pat us down and search us. Pasaporte, take our passports. They're looking through our passports. They're trying to figure out, what are you doing out here? And I'm like, please don't fucking rob me. Because I was like, I'm not going to videotape this. I've been trying to videotape stuff. I'm like, I'm not putting a camera in this dude's face because this could end very bad. This dude, I'm not putting a camera in the face of a dude who's 2 feet from me, who's got a fucking M16. He had better rifles than that. But the guy in charge, everyone's kind of queerly looking at me. The guy in charge is asking questions. And he's looking at Morgana's passport. And she travels all the time because she has like a digital job. She's traveled for work before. She's been living in Costa Rica. So all these stamps of Costa Rica and France and Germany and and they're starting to be like, who is this chick? This is a little Asian girl smuggling. I can see they really start going through her bag. And I'm like, all right. I'm about to shit a brick, and I just accept, if you get robbed, you get robbed. What are you gonna do? They're not gonna kill you, Mike. You might fucking. But if they want to take, what if they just take money on my wallet? What if they just take my camera? As they search me, they find my camera. They then start going through my bag. Thankfully, they're going through the bottom because the cocoa leaves are at the top, and I'm watching as this guy proceeds to search my bag, go through, rifle through my clothes. Thankfully, where he opened, it's all underwear, so he has to feel through my boxes. I can tell he doesn't want to do that, but he's searching anyway. He's searching all through. I have like a travel backpack that you see people hiking across Europe with. He's going through. He's like, they're looking at me, and I'm just like, fuck. I just get this giant floodlight in my face, and I got a dude behind me, like they've positioned themselves around us. The other guys are periodically checking people as they come in through other trucks, certain local trucks. They're like, whatever, go through. You can't go through. You stay here. They're taking their time with us. And finally, I can tell them questions. And here's the thing. The 3 local guys are nervous. And that's what made me nervous. They really stiffened up when all this started. And I was like, oh, this is, they were very quick with their passports and documentation. And eventually he's something, blah, 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 turista? And we're going to end with the guy in charge of driving us, go, see turistas? We're tourists. They're tourists. Blah, blah, blah. Yahe? Now, you're going to hear me say yahe a lot. Yahe is a local word for ayahuasca. So he's asking what we're doing here. What are these tourists doing out in the middle of nowhere? We don't get them out here, really. If you do get them out here, it's for ayahuasca. And they go, see, yahe. We go, you see, yahe? And he's like, all right, couple, and hands us back our passports, hands me back my bag, loads it up again, and I get back in, and I'm just fucking... Now, I can't impress upon you. In retrospect, it's like, whatever, man. But in the moment of being on the side of a road in rural jungle Colombia, in a former guerrilla territory, late at night, okay, it's like 11:30, and being surrounded by a group of guys in fatigues with machine guns and a floodlight who are going through our passports and our bags and our belongings, looking for contraband and trying to figure out who we are and what we're doing. It's a little fucking nerve-wracking, okay? And I'm like, oh shit, oh boy. And I felt alive. I felt very alive in that moment. I felt quite alive. I'll be real with you. I felt very alive. We keep going. Morgana's joking, and it's funny. Occasionally, they start talking to me now. They're asking her, what do you do? We're joking. Of course, I joke. What everyone jokes about is that Colombia just has the most beautiful women you've ever seen. It's not just that they're physically beautiful with their raven black hair and their curves and their big, fat, beautiful Colombian asses. It's that, and they're just pretty faces. It's how they carry themselves. They carry themselves like women. And having come back here, I realized that Western women have been hyper-masculinized. You can see it in the way they walk, in the fact that their hips don't even shake. You can see it in how they... And it's not all Western women. It's a lot. And I'll get into this later. It's the foundation of why we fight and have so many male-female problems in here that just don't exist there. Like not like this. It's just... that level of fighting and unhappiness between men and women in the U.S., which is why we need consistently relationship coaches, it isn't there. And, so they're talking to me and they go, oh, what are you doing here? I joke. I go, I'm looking for a wife. And they go, Colombia is too beautiful. They say, Colombia has too many beautiful women to take just one. And I go, oh, and we're joking, and as we finally get into this town called Hormiga, which is out there, and we drive by, and I'm seeing some smoke shows on mopeds. Everyone is driving like motorbikes and mopeds and small motorcycles and out here because gas is expensive. Gas is like, I want to say what the conversion ratio between pesos to dollars and liters to gallons. It's somewhere between $7 and $9 a gallon. I'll have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's a lot. It's like Americans actually have pretty cheap gas in the grand scheme of things. We don't realize it that other countries it's not easy to just drive around. So everyone's on motorbikes. Everyone's going into town to drink and go to these little bars. Hacienda. Is that no, Mike? That's not it. it's going to come to me eventually. But these little out, like, play bars and clubs and stuff, and it's I look at this girl, they look at me and they go, oh, yeah, we're all dead. Right away, of course, we're bonding over women. We're kind of sitting in the middle like, oh, God. And we're like, joking about, I'm like, grande culo. And they're like, sí, grande culo. And I'll throw this observation in here, but I understand something now, is that when I've been with South American and Latin women in general, most Latin men all seem to have just secret families. Not only do they have, it's not that just they have a wife and they cheat on her, but they have like side wives and side girlfriends and side families, and they get multiple going at once. It's so many Latin dudes I know do this. Not all of them, but plenty. And Latinas who are always like fiery and they're like, oh, Latinas are crazy. Well, a lot of them have severe trust issues, and that's part of it, because like dudes will have secret families. So a lot of Latinas are incredibly jealous. And if you're not man enough to fucking dominate that jealousy, or at least put them in their place in that regard, they'll fucking run right through you. They'll run over you. And I've seen this across the board, but I also get. So I'd be like, man, Latin dudes, you get these beautiful women and you're fucking so greedy. They'll do anything for you and you cheat on them. And then I come here and that guy said, there's too many beautiful women to have just one. And I totally get it. I get the guy's side of it. Because it's not that just a woman will come along and she's beautiful with a fat ass. They make you feel like a king. And I was like, oh, when you meet a girl who's gorgeous and she makes you feel like a king, that's why you end up having an extra family. But anyway, back to I'm sorry. I have so much to say. I'm on a distraction. We get to this hotel. We thankfully get in. There's flashing lights. Like the hallways are just dark. And I'm like, this is like Saw. Just random flashing lights. I'll put up videos of this. It's kind of wild. I'm like, where the fuck? I'm out here. I'm looking outside. I see some cops pull up on a young girl. And I think they're hitting on her, and she's like 14, 15, and I'm like, what, cops trying to fuck this girl? She was locked out of her house. I think she was waiting for someone to come home. That's all it was. I deduced that. It's amazing what you can do without speaking the language, just because her boyfriend showed up and she was like outside. I finally, Donna goes to bed, so we had to be up at 6. I go outside. I'm walking around. The streets are dead, and it's kind of eerie, but I realize I walk a few blocks and it's just quiet, eerie. Dead little fucking tiny Colombian town. Stray dogs will run by. Occasionally, I hear a motorbike, and I'm like, if someone wanted to roll up on me on a bike like this, they could. And it's a problem of American thinking. You think everyone's going to rob you, but at the same time, you have to be careful, because some people will. But most people are just great people who just want to help you or get to know you. And I'm walking around, and I'm kind of shook. And I'm like, I didn't stray too far. I walk by and I see a club. And then I used to seeing gringos. So people are like, who is this guy out here? And people leaving a club, and it just be moped, drive by. Young kids they're all going out to drink. They're all going out to have a fun time. This is country. So there's no drinking age here, really. And also, people are masked up and kind of weary of COVID. Not as bad as America, but down there in the cities, just like in America, you get out to the country, no masks, no COVID. This is real poverty out here. We got real life shit to deal with. We have real problems, not fucking COVID problems. If COVID is on your list of problems, you live a nice, spoiled, easy, privileged life. All right? For anyone with real shit, you ain't even fazed by COVID. That's why COVID isn't fucking up black and brown people in there mentally the way it is spoiled white progressives who live easy lives. They're the scaredest because they have nothing else to worry about. Anyway, off my soapbox, I'm back out here. We wake up the next morning. I meet a gringo. He walks by me into a store. I'm having the best breakfast for less than $1. I'm eating these empanadas from a guy on the side of the road. He's giving me coffee. Just like, this is the best part about traveling in these places. Just this kind of food and this kind of interaction for like 2,000 pesos. 4,000 pesos is an American dollar. 50 cents. I mean, and it's amazing. This stuff is awesome. I'm eating right in the street. This guy walks by, Spanish dude, well, Colombian dude, and he's got a gringo with him, and he points, and sometimes you're like, is this guy maybe like one of the white Colombians? But he looks kind of, he's got dark hair and dark eyes, and he looks at me, I look at him, and the other guy whispers, points at me, and he comes over and goes, hey, gringo? I go, yeah, where you from? He goes, America. I go, me too. This is the first time, I know he's got green stuff on the corner of his mouth, and I'm wondering what that is. We get to talk, and I have this all on video. I filmed it with my GoPro. We're chatting, all this. He, you know, what are you doing out here? Oh, after COVID, man, I came down here. I'm like, dude, I've been coming down here after COVID. You know, he's like, dude, I'm done with, we're talking about the flaws of our world, of America, and the degenerate consumerism. I'm like, I'm out here to do ayahuasca. He goes, dude, this guy I'm with, my friend, he's building a hostel in the jungle. You got to go there and you hike to get there. He set up a place for gringos to do ayahuasca. I go, get the fuck out of here. We're chatting. This is amazing. Finally, our ride shows up. In the car is a guy driving us, one of the guys from the family, and this dude I met who, I don't know if he wants me. I'm very cautious about saying certain people's name. Anyway, he's from Kansas. And we trade stories about sobriety. He's been sober from drugs. And Ibogaine helped him do it. Ayahuasca helps people too. This stuff can help you end addiction. I am not fucking around. Look it up. It will shock your system out of it mentally and physically. As we go, he's been living out here for 7 weeks. Like, I'm like, oh shit. And I'm very thankful he's here because he's helping around this place. He is like acting as a translator. We get here. They're like, all right, we'll do something tonight. We meet up with the other people. I was like, all right. So I've been taking a long time. I'm getting into this right here. And so we go into it. Now, keep in mind, this place is 4 hours away from the airport. It's in the jungle. It's a little town. It's like a compound. They feed us. It's like $12 a day to stay there, $12 for an ayahuasca experience. There's also another experience I didn't do, some of the other guys did. Now, this originates in Brazil, not Colombia. They take a piece of ash, like ashy wood from a fire, and they burn you. They give you 3 burns. If you're a man, it's on your upper left upper left shoulder. If you're a woman, it's in your lower right ankle. They then drop frog poison into the burn, and you have to drink water and you proceed to puke your fucking guts out. You purge like you've never purged before, and it's designed to help get you ready, to get your system ready for the ayahuasca, because you're going to purge. Ayahuasca is going to make you puke and fucking shit. You're going to purge. And so some of the guys did that morning. I'm like, not sure if I want to do that. I don't feel like it's necessarily going to bring me to enlightenment. I'm holding off on it. Joel was telling me it felt like his face was getting squished and it was super hot. He drank 2 liters of water, puked it all up till he puked up orange bile. Some guys do it. You will notice that some of the local guys who work here, they have it on their shoulders. Taita did like a hero dose where he had to do in several days. The first day he did 3, next day he did 6, and then the next he did like fucking 18. He did a total of 36 over a few days. It was like a test of strength. And I haven't met Taita yet. I'm just hanging out. The wives, it's like, the wife and her sister-in-law and then her husband, and like there's multiple members of the family here. Like this is how people live outside of consumerist northern Western Europe and America. People live as a family, not just a nuclear family, a mom, dad, and a kid, but generations of a family. And aunts and uncles and everyone is like a family unit. And one house, like hut in front, there's some Mexicans staying from Mexico City. And then in another hut, so there's some other people staying there besides us, me and the other. I think I'm up to 6 people in my group, and with the other guy from Kansas, that makes 7. And we do it this night. We're gonna do the ayahuasca. Now this is fucking jungle. There are never-ending sounds all over the place of animals and stuff. And they get fucking panthers, jaguars out here. A couple months ago, one killed a guy, and then the locals hunted him down and killed him. The fucking jaguar, the panther. So, we're not really worried about that, but that's usually deeper in the jungle. So we're on the edge. To put this in perspective, man, I stood up kind of at the high point of where we're at. There was a volcano erupting in Ecuador that I could see. I could see the Andes Mountains. I have never seen mountains like these. It looked like the earth was reaching out to touch God. Like they were scraping across the blue sky. Clouds weren't even taller than they were. The clouds would pass in between the mountains. Unfucking real. And here we are in our cabins. We're spread out between two cabins. And the roofs are open. The doors are open. There's no inside. There's no reception. I have had throughout all that stuff happening, one of the things I was shook about, I had no reception. No internet, no cell reception, nothing. No GPS. I'm off the fucking grid. No technology. I'm out here and I'm like, whew. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to videotape this because I'm realizing this is something special. And if I try and videotape this ceremony, number one, it's going to be rude because I shouldn't be videotaping what other people are going through. And what everyone calls it is their process. They refer to the ayahuasca as medicine, and the thing you're going through is a process. And I'm like, oh shit, all right, we're doing this. We're doing it tonight. I'm getting amped up, and you go down. Freddie, one of the helpers, one of the local guys, he brings me down. He shows me the Maloka, which is their temple. It's a large outdoor hut, and the floor is dirt, and there's some toilets, about 100 feet off to the side. They're outside toilets, they're only good walls on three sides. And he's showing me an altar where we do it. You're not allowed to go to the altar during the day. Like, don't fucking go over there. There's a small fire pit where they have a little fire at night. And he's like, this is where we do it. He's talking to me. He barely speaks English. I barely speak Spanish. Right away, we're making friends. Super cool guy. He sees I'm reading a book called Cocaine Nights. And he goes, no, cocaine? Cocaine? I go, no, I haven't. He's asking me, have you done it recently? I go, no, I haven't done cocaine in a while. And he's like, all right, because you can't do this if you've done cocaine or weed or any other drugs 5 days prior. Also, I found out, one guy told me right when we were driving out here at night, they don't want you doing this if you're on any form of psychoactive medication. This yahe, this is pure nature shit. This is pure power of the fucking earth and the jungle, and it does not work. It does not like to, and it will fucking it purges you of the chemicals in your body, of the the thoughts you have, the shit that has input us toxically. It brings us back to what we are supposed to be, natural human beings. And when there's shit in you that shouldn't be there, like medications and chemicals from foods or toxic ideas we get from fucking social media and that way of thinking, it fucks them up and it spews them out of you. And it's not a fun process. So you're not allowed to do this shit if you're on any psychoactive medications at all. None. All right? You could lie, but goddamn, you don't want to fucking do that. Because as I found out from my friend from Kansas, as Cole told me, he goes, there were some Russians here. It was very strange to see Russians. They're not a spiritual people. They're kind of like, they're not quite questioned for that. They're a little, and they didn't do any work to get for this. Like everyone I met who's come here, we're all on paths of spiritual improvement, of mental improvement. We're all looking for something. We're all out here trying to do. We've all been down this road. Nigel is doing like spiritual. He's doing he's a spiritual guide. He lives in Amsterdam for truffles. He helps people guide them that way. This guy's like going balls to the wall in the hallucinogen game. We sat down, dude. I had a conversation with everyone there about the time, about how masculine dominated the feminine in religious mythology as the steppe peoples came out of the Carpathian Basin and down in the Caucasus Mountains down into Mesopotamia and Anatolia, and how you went from having maternalistic goddess worshiping cultures and ended up with, the sky father cultures, where you went from people who had agrarian cultures being dominated by Hittites and Mycenaeans, and I can never have these conversations with people. I never get to have these, and I'm having these, and I'm blown away by the fact that I'm discussing, Persephone and the symbol of snakes in mythology, and the fact that her mother, who had the chariot pulled by snakes, Demeter. And I don't ever get to have, I'm having these fucking conversations. So people are on a level. Back to what I said, some Russians came, a guy took ayahuasca, he went down to the river and he tried to bash his fucking skull in and kill himself while he was tripping. That's how intense this shit can fucking be. So I'm going into it. I'm asking Morgana all these questions. She's like, Mike, just fucking go with it, dude. Just, and like, because I found out it doesn't work for everyone. The people who came down, they had a friend who went down, and he wanted to prove that it's bullshit. This is just a cult for Taita. This is nonsense. Whatever. It doesn't work. This stuff is nonsense. It doesn't work. And it does blah blah blah. It doesn't work. And it didn't really work for him. And it didn't work for him. And he didn't get shit out of it the whole time he was there. And Morgana, she didn't have it work for her for several nights. It wasn't on her first time she had her breakthrough. And she's the one who invited me. And I don't know, I'm not going to discuss what her thing was, but when she told me what she went through, it was incredibly powerful. She saw a dead relative and got some closure. And that is what spurred me to want to come out here, the way she explained it. And now, I know I've been taking a while to get here. I wanted to get all this, and I wanted to paint a picture of where I am and what's going on. If you haven't watched the videos of the place, here it is. We go into it, it's nighttime. They're like, you go down and you pick out your hammocks. There's hammocks there for us. There are locals there. Morgana reminded me of this. People from around the village. Taita has an important role to play for his village. He's like a father figure. He is a guy that people go to for advice and spiritual guidance. And he is under tremendous amounts of pressure. And he has to go through, like any of us, his own shit. So they're all taking ayahuasca. All the people that are working at this place, it's their home, they live here, they go through the ceremony with us. So they're not simultaneously dealing with their own demons and their own things while also keeping a keen eye on us. I cannot express, like, some places don't do this. Some places don't play music like he does. They don't do what these guys do. They don't keep track of you or make sure you're safe. These guys keep track of you. They are utter fucking professionals. I was astounded at everything, and everyone's telling me you're going to purge. This stuff purges you of stuff, mental, physical, and spiritual. We go into it, and it's time. We go down to the Maloka. It's dark. It's 10 p.m. till dawn. We do this. Now, the ayahuasca itself will last for 2-3 hours, the full thing, and then they offer more doses. We can go throughout the night. And first night, there's some other people there. Local people will come in on the weekends and just do it too. So it's not just us gringos. It's not just our group. There's other people there. As I said, there's a Mexican family here. They've been living here for several months. My friend from Kansas, he's here. He's helping out. People will just come down and stay because of how magical this fucking place is. We go into it. I do it. The men go first. It's ceremonial. Taita is there, and there's just 3 candles at the altar. There is a fire pit. Very low fire. There's a candle off where the toilets are. It's dark. You have to have a headlamp. I don't fucking have one. I have some other shitty flashlight. It is dark. You are hearing nothing but the sounds of the jungle. And there are shadows dancing everywhere. There are bugs the size of my fucking hand. On one pillar, there's a spider the size of my fucking face. Me and Cole see him when Cole's hanging up his hammock. There's another spider who built a giant nest. This guy had legs like my fucking, like long, twice the length of my finger. it was like a prehistoric fucking spider and I was like, do not go near him. I'm keeping track of him. And I remember people like, maybe you've seen him. I go, he's fucking real. This is real. So we get in line, we do it. And I'm like ready, Mike. I'm balls to the wall. We do this shit because it's hard, motherfucker. We do it, man the fuck up, and we're going in. Because I'm hearing all these stories about what other people have done and what's gone on, about how it's broken them. We line up, one by one. We go in. Tight is, he kind of mutters and he chants and he breathes on the bowl. He ladles it into a bowl. It's a liquid. Sometimes he's done it. Other people have taken a paste. This is a liquid. And one by one, we drink it. I get up and Taita does the cross. Because at the altar there's some images of Jesus, a crucifix. This is like, it originated in pagan, shamanistic type cultures, but obviously everything has been Christianized due to the Spanish conquest. So Christ is big here too. He's a big dude in Latin America. We do it, I take it. And now you go back to your hammock and you wait. Everyone waits. The locals don't have hammocks. People in the family, they're not chilling in hammocks. These motherfuckers just chilled by the fire. And they took this freight train of a fucking trip. And I watched some dudes just sit on a log or like it's not like Americans. We always got big comfy chairs. You travel in the world, you sit in a little piece of fucking wood or a little plastic fucking, and your ass hurts. And somehow everyone is fine with it. Americans, we are so privileged with where we put our asses, with our big fat asses. So we're so fucking big and fat. I'm watching these dudes take, let me explain this fucking shit to you. In the darkness, as I listen to the strange clucks of birds it's like they're chugging. I've never heard birds like this. I hear frogs. I've never heard frogs like this. You're hearing the sounds of the fucking jungle, occasionally a wild dog or a coyote. You're hearing shit, but at the same time, it's silent but loud. You hear the river. There's a river right by us in the distance. Very, very strange. Just being there. Just because as Americans, we don't sit with boredom. We sit with our phones, and you just get to sit there in the darkness and stare at the ceiling, as shadows play on the ceiling from the candles, in the darkness. And then slowly, after a while, it starts to lick at you. You can feel the trip coming in. Slowly, it begins to come. And I was like, what is this? And it's like, wow, like mushrooms aren't this slow. Acid isn't this slow. This is different. It's permeating throughout me. Like an opaque liquid coursing over a surface. And you watch as the liquid disperses into different holes and rivulets. And I felt that. Not just in my body, but in my spirit, my mind, and my soul. It was and then visions. The kaleidoscopic stuff you usually get when you take acid. Just, oh, look at that. What's that over there? And it's coming. And then it's like, whoa, what is this? This is a force. This ain't like mushrooms. This ain't like acid. This is something on another fucking level. What is this? And it's coming in you. And then the chanting. Taita would chant. It's hard to understand, but it didn't even sound Spanish. It was, it sounded more like an Indian language, but I believe it was Spanish. I don't know. I'm on the edge of tripping balls, and I hear, and he would do this thing where he would yawn and breathe, and you're just hearing chanting in the darkness of the jungle with the shadows, and just chanting to himself. You can hear him over there, and every now and then you hear people. And then it comes. And then I'm tripping. I'm in my process. I won't call it tripping anymore. I'll call it my journey. It's my fucking journey. And I am becoming Zen. And I go, this is amazing. I am seeing every instantaneous information is pouring into my fucking brain. And the questions that I am seeking answers for are being answered immediately. How do I save the family members in my life and they're their own people, Michael? You can't save them. They're their own people. You can't save your friends. You can't save your family if they don't want it. They're adults. You should be worrying about your life. What do you do? All of these questions being answered. I'm zen. I'm at peace. I have never felt tranquility and peace like this. And it was more or less a bluff, but it was beautiful. I'm at peace. What is going on? I feel good. I feel warmth. And we're getting up. Cole comes over, my friend, he's, helper. He's like, Mike, we're going up for second doses. People are lining up again. It's already been 2 hours. It's like midnight, a little past midnight. I kind of walk over and he goes, Mike, you dizzy? Because I'm kind of like, they really kept track of me. They really did. And I come over and I'm like, no, how are you? How you doing? I'm at peace. Taita hands me, one by one, we're called up to the altar. I take the cup again. It's a bowl. Sip it. Now, I've wanted to puke earlier, but it was like sitting there. It was kind of holding off. I go back in. My hammock. There's people around the fire now. By now, Taita has taken out his guitar. And this is something that happened every night. The singing starts. Taita would sing in Spanish, and his friends and family members would play the drums or the maracas, and one by one, other people from our crew would go over and they would play instruments. They would play the drums, or a local guy would hop in and he would sing songs of redemption and worship. Now, in this moment, this is all terrifying to me, the chanting and the music, because I don't know what it is, but these are songs about Christ and redemption and being reborn and saviors. But in the moment, it's just me in a tent in the darkness, and something hits me. And I am hit with a level of fucking confusion I have never felt before. As the second dose hits me, I realize that my sense of self is being obliterated. Now, when I say this to you guys, I need you to understand what I'm talking about is I want you to think, who are you inside here? What are you in your fucking brain? Who is that? Who is that identity? Who is that? What is that? That's you. That's your soul. That's your eternal. That's your body is finite. It's a carapace that carries you. It's flesh and bone and sinew. But what's in you? Your mind, your character, your soul, that is eternal. So what is? That's the real you. Because that can die and you can just be a vegetable for the rest of your fucking life. That's a horrible way to go. Or we see in movies, sci-fi, where your body dies and that part of you keeps on. That part of me is getting laid to fucking waste. I can barely speak to people. I don't fully know. I know it's me, but I don't know it's me. This part of sense of control is being obliterated. My ego isn't just dead. It has been fucking eaten by coyotes and shit out again, and people poured salt on it and buried it in the center of the earth. It's wrecked. It's gone. My sense of self is obliterated, and I am confused, and I'm getting scared. I'm scared like I have never been scared. I haven't dealt with fear like this before, but I'm getting scared. And I'm confused. And I'm like, I'm experienced with this kind of stuff, Mike. Don't fight it. I'm trying not to fucking fight it. But I'm fighting it. I'm trying to logically understand what happens here because my brain is my most powerful asset. I'm trying to logically, like I would in mushrooms. I would be like, Mike, why are you worried about that? But my brain can't do that. My brain can't objectively figure out what is happening to me. It's not working in its own, like my self. my soul, and my fucking brain, which I've always thought were the same, have literally become detached. And I'm standing in the jungle by the moonlight, and I hear chanting and music, and I don't know what's going on, and I'm hearing people puke their fucking guts out. Moaning and groaning in pain as people periodically would fall out of their hammocks and run into someone be running because they're going to shit their pants because it is purging you. I'm getting horrible gas. And I'm just sitting there. I'm tripping like I've never tripped fucking before. Up against a tree in a fucking jungle in the middle of nowhere. To me, not to these people, but to me, the middle of nowhere. And finally I see someone's behind me. And it's my friend Freddie from earlier, but I don't know this guy yet. I'm paranoid. I'm tripping like I've never tripped before. I'm telling you, and he comes over to talk to me, but he doesn't speak English, I don't speak Spanish. And I'm trying, part of my brain, and way in the back, I find who I am. And it goes, Michael, this will help you operate under any stress in life. Get up. It was like pulling me back to my frontal lobe. And I go, and with all my energy, I find out who I am. And he goes, my friend Cole comes over to interpret, and he goes, I don't know, well, he's my friend now, but at the time he wasn't. He goes, hey, Freddie wants to know how you're doing. Now, these guys are in their own process. They're going through their shit too. And I can barely see their faces by the moonlight. Just their headlamps shining. And it's like I'm being interrogated in the jungle, tripping fucking. I've never tripped this hard in my life. What's going on, man? I'm like, and I'm like, they're not going to hurt you, Mike. They're not going to hurt you. No one's here to hurt you. Calm down. And I go, I just have to puke. And he keeps talking to me in Spanish. I can't understand. Thankfully, Cole would come over because I'm like, and it's taking everything in my power to speak. I am fighting to speak. I am fighting to make words. And I'm like, I just, and then he hands me a cup of water and he says, drink this. And I'm like, I'm getting panicked. What's in this water? It doesn't taste right. But that's because I've tasted the ayahuasca. The taste of ayahuasca, it's like drinking earth. It is one of the most intense, unique tastes I've ever, it's like truly tasting a root. I don't know how to explain it. And I can still taste that. And I'm like, did he put some in the water? I drink more. I go turn around, puking my guts out as I'm, and I mean retching, puking against a tree in the fucking jungle. I see people wandering over the toilet to shit their fucking brains out in the dark. I can hear people behind me. There's everything is spatially fucked up. Time dilation is beyond anything you could have ever imagined. These 2 hours were a lifetime. Worse than acid, worse than mushrooms. Every second is a year. Longest puke of my life. I can't get it all up. It's not all gone. I come over again. He's like, how you doing? I go, salsa picante. Because he told me be careful. They usually, we would always have a big lunch in their culture. But for supper, for dinner, it was very light. Usually lighter fare in Colombia, Latin American country in general. But their big things: lunch, siesta, lunch. So at night they feed us porridge, which is easy to puke up, and every other food tastes bland to me because I'm used to eating fucking food filled with sugar and salt, chemical, factory produced food. And all the food I'm eating has been grown here. It's not nearly as much meat. And it's all real food. Anyway, I had some homemade hot sauce. Salsa picante, and it's coming out my nose. So I go over, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. This is when I noticed something. I'm not sure. I think it happened this night. I didn't fully pick up on it till the other night I did it. But I've opened a doorway in my brain to a realm of spirits and other consciousness. There's something out there beyond us that's greater than us. And I open a doorway. And here's what you got to remember about opening doorways. Is just because a doorway says exit, just like at a supermarket, you can walk in that doorway. A doorway is not always an entrance or an exit. A doorway is a doorway. It goes in and out. And in my process of thinking that I was going to reach out, something else reached in. And as I laid in my hammock, I noticed, this was on my third dose. We went up, they were doing third doses, and I felt it kind of waning. You'll feel it, you'll hit your peak, it'll wane, and I go, all right, I'm going to do more, because I didn't come here to be a fucking bitch. I came here to go hard and to face my demons and to get something out of this. I'm here to change. I'm here to become a new man. So I don't care if it hurts, Michael. I don't care if you're fucking scared. Get up there and take that third fucking dose and go where you're afraid to go. I sit back down and I notice there's something else inside my head. Like a bug is inside my head. I realize that there is a separate consciousness inside my mind. And it's not mine. And it freaked me the fuck out at first. And I go, all right, chill, maybe you're not. And I go, no, it's here. It's here. And it came in. It wasn't good or bad. I noticed it was just like a gray neutral. I go, all right, just fucking don't fight it, whatever. Trying to do that. And whenever I try to think things out, this ayahuasca would wreck me. There was no conceptualizing things. I just felt feelings of fear and feelings of confusion like I've never felt feelings. And it's not like I'm afraid of this. It's just I'm afraid. End. I can't find the root. There is none of that. You're just feeling afraid and intense fear. And I'm like, confusion more than anything. And I go, all right, man the fuck up. The singing's getting louder. And, all right, we're doing this. All right. There's something else in here. Something else is coming here. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's here. All right, and it is like Rick James putting his dirty feet on my couch. He walked around, whatever this was, and was like, I'll shit on the fucking walls if I want to. I'm not gonna, but I could. I'm in control of here. And I'm not going out till this doorway closes. So deal with it. It was frightening. It was confusing. What was this thing? What did I let in here? And as the music would go, I would shake. I was shaking with the music in my hammock, bouncing up and down, just shaking. And eventually I was told after that night, because my friend Joel was doing it too, Freddie and Finney, the locals and helpers and relatives of Taita, said, you shake to make room. Okay. But what am I making room for? Next day, I'm obliterated. Now, there's no phones, no nothing. We take a space. We have a night off in between. I don't think we do Sunday. I'm here for 10 nights, I believe. And I did it 5 nights. All right, so first night down, 3 doses. It's the most any foreigner's done. It's 3 doses. Some of the guys, I watched guys puke their fucking guts out. This was intense. I watched this. Now, here's the thing that I noticed. It's not fucking up the locals the way it's fucking up the Europeans and the Americans. Or even like the Latinos who came from like cities, quote unquote, civilization, for lack of a better word. People from consumerist, tech-oriented cultures are the locals are taking this in stride. The next night we do it, 2 nights later, I'm like, wow, I got my ass kicked. Now, during the days, we would all sit around and we would talk about our experiences. We'd go down to the river. The fish in the river loved biting me. Everything here loved biting me. They're not used to ginger meat. Oh, my God, they bite my nipples so fucking hard. These fish would grab my nipples and just fucking titty twist. Worst titty twist in my life. Brutal. Had to get in the water and cover my nipples like I was being raped. Bugs would try and bite me at times. During the day, we just eat this amazing food. And it's starting to warm on me. And what I've realized is like every day here was a lifetime. The 10 days I spent here were 10 months. When I came back after all of this, these 10 days, they weren't 10 days. It was as if 10 days happened in the world. And it's as if I had traveled at light speed or close to it, and time had slowed down for me, like the Lorentz factor. Where, as Einstein explained in the theory of relativity, as you travel close to the speed of light, time will slow for you. It'll speed up for the outside world. Except it was more of the opposite. I was having enormous amounts of time, and you guys were just having small amounts of time. And so whatever. I'm hanging out. I'm meeting people. We're having talks. It's we're really like getting somewhere. And I'm in a pissy mood still. It hasn't gotten out of me. I'm being aggravated. I'm kind of pissed off at someone else in the group. And I don't know. He's just irked me. All right? And he's just irking me. And I'm just kind of, like whatever. He's kind of being a pain in the ass. Or I think he's being pompous. And I'm like focused on it. The second night I go in, I'm like, you know what? I pray. And I kind of get this righteous fucking attitude with me that I'm going to teach people because I'm going to open my mind. I'm going to be better. And I'm coming from the wrong fucking place. And I know it, and I try and fight it, but I can't fight it. Why am I acting like this? Why am I pissy? Why am I being a bitch? Why am I mad at this dude? But it's all in my mind. It's justified. He's bothering me. Whatever. But conceptually, I'm like, yeah, but that's on you, Mike. It's not. Anyway, second night we do it again. Same process. I do my first dose, except now, it didn't take that long for me to puke. I took the dose, and as I started tripping, and I felt it really coating me as I lay in the hammock, and it came over me as Tida was chanting, and I watched the shadows. There was a giant spider up there that night. I was watching him, just making a nest slowly as he'd move to the music, his giant limbs as I trip, and I felt it coming over me, and truly now was a liquid. It was this organic liquid permeating every part of me, physically, spiritually, mentally, coursing throughout me, this thick liquid, coating me, covering me, and as it got to the top, I felt, oh fuck, I'm tripping. And this stuff, when I say it opens your pineal gland, your third eye, there is a part of us that we have never been taught. In modern Western society, it's called your pineal gland. And it is that part of you that connects spiritually to the universe. It is real. It is there. And it is something that other cultures have always tapped into. We even tapped into it long before we got Christian, when Europeans were pagans. Ancient Celts did it. We had our Druids that helped us do it. This stuff existed. Okay? Yeah, and then with the Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, it was really laid waste to. And with the increase of technology and the current zeitgeist we have, it was really destroyed. It was viewed as barbaric and not real. And, this is for simpletons and savage races of man. But it's real. And it is powerful. I fucking promise you. It's real. Any skepticism I've had is gone. It is like a sixth sense that operates like all the other senses but beyond them at once. I'm blasted open, dude. My pineal gland is gaped and wide open, man. I'm puking in the fucking jungle again. I'm puking. Now, remind you, today, so one of the days when we sat down, I think it was the first day I brought up, we were talking about trauma. I brought up some traumatic memories. One of my most traumatic memories from childhood is my dad would come home drunk and he'd bully all of us, but he'd bully the dog especially. And I know that my dad didn't feel like he had control over his life like so many working class Americans. How do you, when you're taught that what matters is fame and fortune and all you are is a mechanic, that's what your society teaches you is Hollywood sycophancy. You come to hate yourself. Felt like he never had control over his destiny, so he controlled his wife, his kids, and his dog. And my dog, despite being an alpha bitch Rottweiler, was terrified of him. She was scared. My dog could kill a man, and she was terrified of my father. Terrified. He'd come home drunk. He'd sneak in the house to catch us doing something. It was like a permanent state of PTSD and anxiety that I just learned to deal with. Where sometimes I'd just look up and he'd be there and what are you playing video games for? I'd run over and turn off my N64. My brother and I would keep it down low. We would listen for a car door out in the street. So we knew if we would listen for that front door, and he was always trying to, I don't know why he did this. I don't know, he always fucking did this. Always trying to sneak up and catch us doing something. And he, one night, he's bowling the dog. He'd stand over her. He'd growl on her. He'd humiliate her, exert his dominance over her, make her terrified of him. She bit him in the face and he tried to kill her. As a little boy, I don't know, I was definitely less than 11, maybe around 8, between 8 and 11. I was young. I watched my dad try and bash her brains in with his hand. With one, he sat on her back and put his hand over her snout, and he proceeded to pound her fucking skull. And to this day, I remember that. I lost this memory for a while, and then it came back to me, but I remember the sound it made. The sound of a fist hitting flesh, hitting her fucking head. And she was wriggling, and she was screaming the way dogs scream when they're in pain, but it was muffled. So it was screaming and crying as he crushed her fucking head. I'm gonna kill her. And I was crying, snots and tears pouring out of my fucking face. My mother was behind me telling him to stop. My brother was on the couch looking over. Just his eyes, tears. He doesn't remember this. And it was the first time in my life I felt despair. I knew what fear was. The Greeks spoke about this in warfare a lot. Ares, Mars as the Romans called him, had 2 sons. And these were the 2 moons of Mars. Mars, Ares, the god of war, had 2 sons, Phobos and Deimos. Phobos is fear, and Deimos is despair. When fear would cripple an army in battle, it was bad. But when despair crippled an army, all was lost. Despair is when an army would rout. And the great massacres that happened in ancient battles happened during a rout. When an army would turn and run, that is when thousands would be massacred. And as I've talked with other people who've gone through this shit, watching their mothers be beat by their fathers, watching a brother or sister be beat by an evil stepmother. Some of my friends have gone through similar stuff. Many of us have. Despair is when someone does something to someone you love, or you, and there's nothing you can fucking do about it. So you pray to fucking God that they get exhausted in their anger and you get mercy that way. And I brought this memory. It's fresh in my mind. It's something traumatic. For all my life, I've wanted to go back in time and not stop my dad, but hurt me. I wanted to pick me up by the ankles and bash my skull against a brick wall because I cried, tears and snots coming down my face. I begged him and pleaded, don't kill my dog. Dad, don't kill him. Don't kill Princess. Please don't kill Princess. Please, you're killing her. You're killing. And I cried like a little, all my life. I said I was a bitch and a pussy and a faggot because I cried. I was 8. What was I supposed to do? Fight a grown man? I was a little boy watching my dog get beat, and he turned to me and he said, as he got tired, he was still holding it down, he said, get my gun. I said, no. So he had rifles and a shotgun upstairs, and he said, get my fucking gun, Michael. I said, no, and I never talked back to my father. And he said, I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill the bitch. And I got up. As he got up, she got up, and I opened my door, and she ran out in the street. And I ran after her and eventually went off to bed. I'm going to kill her. And I've kind of shortened this story, but it was horrible. And eventually I found her outside, and I brought her home later that night. And that story, for whatever reason, imprinted on my brain. And so this second night, I take my dose. I'm immediately puking. Now I'm going to the shit to do diarrhea. And if you have a diarrhea when you were tripping balls in the jungle, and you got to remember, you got to wipe your ass and you can't flush. When you're in Latin America, you don't flush. Toilets can't handle it. You got to throw it in a fucking bin in the darkness with a little candlelight. I'm shitting my brains out. My ego is destroyed. I'm shaking again. Something else has come back in me. And at a certain point, I feel something else coming out of me as I'm standing in the jungle, puking again. Puking, retching my guts out to the sound of chanting and other people vomiting. You know, there's another This was a rough night for me. When it first happened, now I'm sorry, I kind of told things out of order, but after the first dose, I felt depression like I've never felt depression before in my life. I took this ayahuasca, puked my guts out, depression. I can't express to you the depression I felt because it wasn't conceptualized. My brain is being racked, destroyed, my sense of self. Mike Bain, the human being, is being eradicated from my brain, and I feel depression. I don't know why. I don't want to hurt myself, but I am sunken. And I go, it's not working. It just doesn't work. I fought it, and I was like, Mike, it's just, I tried to conceptualize it. I was looking at that guy who I'd been angry about. And I was angry towards him. What was I angry about? You motherfucker. I look back, my brain was like, why are you bothered by him? He's just over there doing his own thing, you dickhead. Let him do his thing. I know tonight a lot of us had a bad trip. I watched one of the guys fall on all fours. Because as soon as he got out of his hammock and puke his fucking guts out, a grown man on all fours, groaning in pain as he wrenched his fucking stomach into the fucking dirt. Now, all our vomit, strange enough, never came around the next day. The ants would eat it. The jungle would absorb it. You're in the rainforest. That's when I realized the jungle itself is alive. Anything we put out there gets absorbed back into it. You pussy ayahuasca. I get so depressed, I can't fucking handle it. And I decide. Now, I meant to say the night before I went home around 5 a.m. I went home back to my cabin. After all that shit. No one said anything, whatever. A couple hours in, I'm like, I've never felt depression like this. I'm obliterated. My ego, my sense of self destroyed. What now? I get up. I go to leave. I grab my blanket out of my hammock. I grab my water. I'm like, I'm going to go back to the cabin. Right? I'm fucking wrecked. I was like, Mike, it's okay. It's okay to fail. You failed tonight. I take the walk back to the cabin. It is the longest walk of my fucking life in the darkness, trying not to fall down as I'm fucking tripping in my process. As I'm in my fucking journey. I'm out there mentally, and I'm trying to just one foot in front of the other. And this is a lifetime fucking journey. I finally almost get to the cabin after what felt like an eternity of walking through darkness over rocks up to the cabin. I see a light, and someone's running up to me. It's Finney. I hadn't really seen Finney. I don't recognize his face, and he's wearing a shirt with a jaguar. He would wear these trippy, like, acid-style shirts, and the jaguar is all bright colors, and it's psychedelic, and it's morphing in front of me and jumping out of the shirt at my face, and his lamp is in my face, and he's speaking in Spanish, and he just points and he goes, Cabino? Cabin? No. You, maloca. Por favor? And he says, please. I understand what he's saying. Saying, you can't go to the cabin, you have to come back. And he makes me come back. And I just go, you're right, I can't quit. And Pava, the Czech girl, she's very motherly. She found me, she come back to the trail, she's like, you okay? They walk me back. And Taita had gotten freaked out because I left. He didn't know what happened to me. Because he had other people that night too, and he was checking on. There was other people there, so it wasn't, and everyone's looking at me, and they put me back in my hammock. Taita comes over, and he's got his headdress on and his shirt off, big belly, like a big medicine man, and he takes his stuff. It's agua diente, which is like means burning water. It's moon. You can buy it there, but it's also like that. They made their own with moonshine and some of that, and they mixed in roots, and he swigs it. And I can tell Joel's next to me. He's having a bad trip. Other guys having a bad trip. I'm watching. We're not doing. We're getting fucked. Our crew's getting fucked up. I'm hearing people groan and puking, violent pukes. He takes a sip. He spits it on me. He's supping it and spraying it all over me. And I'm like, what the fuck? They're like, lift up your shirt. I lift up my shirt, spraying it, covers my eyes, then sprays it on my face, spitting on my stomach and my hands and my arms. And I'm just like, and I'm more depressed than I've ever been in my life. The depression is so bad, I almost can't stand up. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I can't leave. I just want to go home. Why did I come here? I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's like whenever Taito would talk to me, when everyone would do it in Spanish, I'm not getting translations. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where I am. I don't know who I fucking am anymore. I just know I can't leave. There's no taxi. I'm 4 hours into the fucking jungle, man. There is no leaving. And I'm like, why did I do this? What is fucking wrong with me? What am I doing? There's just a man, a Shartland fucking shaman medicine man, and then they're spraying perfume on me and they're rubbing me with a special bush. And there's another bush called an Attega bush, which feels like lightning when you touch it. I touched it before. And if you're acting up, they'll beat you with it to bring you out of your trip. And I lay there. I'm fucking, and then I hear Taito go on and he does it to someone else. And then I hear this guy, no, please, no, as he's doing and in the shadows, in the fire. And I'm like, my brain, I'm fucking just wrecked, puking, shitting, depressed beyond belief, confused. No, my mind is fucking obliterated, man. I don't know who my sense of self is on the verge of a fucking cliff. It's way in the back of my mind. Like in that movie John Malkovich, and you're watching way in the back, but you can't fucking control what's going on. They're doing second doses. I say, man the fuck up, bitch, and do it again. You didn't come here to be a pussy, Michael. We do hot things because we do hot things. That's what men are supposed to do. And I go in for a second dose after I kind of calm down. I do it. I do my second dose. Now, this night, Taita had prepared a new brew. It wasn't the same brew as the first night. I'm sitting there. Second dose hits me. And it's different from the first. It's not as intense, but I'm trapped on a loop as I relive my most traumatic childhood memories. And I'm reliving the memory of me watching my dad try and kill my dog. And I can't get out. But I'm not an adult watching it. I'm there. I'm that little boy all over again, and I'm there. And I'm not feeling a remembrance. I'm watching it happen. And I swore I will never, when I became a man, I will never be a victim ever again. I'll never be a fucking victim, ever. I will never let what happen. I'll never be a weak fucking bitch. I will never let that happen to me. No one will hurt me that way. And I was being hurt that way. It felt as raw as the first fucking time. I was that little boy all over again. But there in the darkness with my eyes opened, in two worlds at the same time, in my memory as if it was real, and in this jungle listening to the guitar and the singing and the fire, just watching the shadows on the ceiling and hearing other people groan and puke, grown men yelling out into the night, puking their guts out. In agony, I'm watching other people as they have to be sprayed down or beaten with the bush because they're fucked up. We're all fucked. There was multiple of us are getting wrecked tonight. And people know it. People know something's going down tonight. And I puked like I couldn't puke before as I'm tripping. I'm shitting, dire fucking my ass. And the first night I couldn't shit. At times I can't shit. At times I'm shitting and puking at the same fucking time. All this in the jungle. Way out here. And I'm reliving this memory, and I'm reliving the memories of being beaten as a kid when my dad would hit me. Because he hit me when we were bad, but I realized we were bad because kids absorb what their parents do. I got beat because I talked back to my mother because my father treated my mother like shit, and I wanted to be my father. So my father beat me in reality because he was beating me out of him. He was beating the parts of me in reality he hated about himself already. In a weird way, I understand it. He couldn't stop these parts of himself the way he treated my mom. I mean, he could have, but clearly he couldn't have because he didn't. And when I'd act like it and my brother would, he'd try and beat it out of us. But it was ceremonial. It wasn't like I would have just prayed for a good just beating and be done. We'd line up on the couch, turn and face the couch, pull down our pants, and have to wait. And I'd usually go second. And the ceremony of it really fucked me up as a little boy. You know, being 5 or 6. And like it was the ceremony of being, it was a ceremony thing. The lights, you know, I remember that glow of that light reminded me of that same pile of light. It was yellow, like the fire. I'd be staring at my own shadow on the couch, a little boy, and we'd wait. And you know it was coming. And we'd beg and we'd scream and beg, please don't cry, please don't beat me, please, please. And, you know, my brother would go first, and I'd hear him, and I'd hear him screaming. And I'd be like, I'm next. And I'd try and go somewhere else in my head. I never could. I always tried. I could never go somewhere else in my head. Never. I'd hear him screaming as crack, screaming from the belt. He'd run off. You're older, you should know better. And even after hearing my brother beg for fucking bloody mercy and not get it, I would beg. Like an idiot, I would beg as if it was going to be different from me. And I'd line up. It was like forced us to have to wait for it. Instead of just giving it to us, the beating wouldn't come until we put our hands on the couch. So we would try not to do that. We'd try and stand up. So you bend over and put your hands on the couch. And the beating would come. And there was threats would come. Either you take it like this or you're going to get it worse. And I finally, shaking with, you know, as a little boy, just shaking, hold on. And that moment would seem like forever as I listened to the belt whistle up and then crack down. And I would scream and I'd cry and I'd go to bed. And we would cry ourselves asleep as we'd, you know, our room was, well, we didn't have a room. We slept in a hallway and looked into the parlor and would watch the lights of the TV, which reminded me so much of this Maloka. And I was reliving that. There I was, tears streaming down my face as I stared up at the shadows in the ceiling of this Maloka. And I was in my memories and on a loop, never-ending loop, saying, don't hit me. Don't hit me. Don't kill her. Don't kill Princess, please. Don't kill my dog, please. Don't. Whispering it out loud to myself as tears like I've never cried before streamed down my face because it wasn't me. It was that little boy all over again, a victim who couldn't defend himself, who had no choice but to give in to despair. And I tried to mentally get myself out of it, and I could not. My mind was obliterated. There was no thinking my way out of this. My mind, my sense of self, all of it destroyed, just pure fear and pain. And they had told me, you know, they come to me and they go, Mike, if you want to lay down, because I kept saying I was tired, I needed to sleep, that's why I left. Why'd you leave? And they go, we'll put down a mat. You can sleep on the floor of the Maloka, but you don't get to go back to the cabin. You're Taita's responsibility, and you don't get to go alone. You stay here till it's over, till dawn. Until 6 a.m. I stayed there. Until we finally went back. And the next day, Taita came to us to talk to us because we knew it had been a bad night. And I was sullen. That day I was destroyed. And everyone could tell it. I was beaten down. And Taita came and they interpreted for me and they explained. I told Taita what I experienced. And I told Taita, I have anger. And I want to be a more loving person. I've been that person before. I want to be able to hug people. For years in my life, I couldn't hug people because when people would try and hug me, I would flinch because I was hit so much that when people would try and hug me, up until I was in my mid-20s, if you tried to touch me, I would flinch. And it took all my power to stop doing it. It was one of the most embarrassing aspects of who I was as a person, was that I would flinch when people would try and touch me. And if you touched my belly, if you touched my shoulder, I would, because I assumed you just wanted to hurt me. I couldn't be hugged. I didn't know how to do that. And it was something that people would tease me about. And when people would find out about it, they would do it to me even more. And it drove me nuts. And I told him this. I go, and Taita's like, you can do that with this medicine. He goes, you can be more loving, but you don't be a pushover. And I go, I'm not trying to be a pushover, Taita. He goes, okay. And, he sat down, he talked with us, and I talked with him about spirituality. He said to us, he goes, look, and he said this to me one time before, but now we really got to see Taita and talk to him. He wasn't just the guy who did the ceremony. He was here as a man speaking to us, and he said, through my friend Morgana Interpreting. He said, now I also have a recording, audio, I'm going to put it up, of one of the times he spoke about ayahuasca. If you know Spanish, you'll understand it. If you don't, Morgana later on interpreted it for me, and I recorded that too. I'll put them both up on my YouTube, as well as this. This is obviously going to be a part of that and my podcast series. We'll see how it goes. He says to me, well, to all of us, he says, this is medicine. You guys have to understand, this is medicine, okay? This ayahe, it's medicine. It's love. It's love. And he goes, no disrespect for your culture. And I'm like, dude, all the disrespect to my culture. I know what's wrong with my culture. That's why we're here. You're not coming to my culture to be freed. I'm coming to your culture to be freed. My culture is my family and friends overdosing and committing suicide and drinking themselves to death and quietly living lives of desperation, fear, hatred, anger, and death. My culture's dying, and I know it's dying. And when I come to your country, I can feel that it's alive and growing. And so he says, no disrespect to your culture. And I'm like, fuck you, man, all disrespect. I know what's wrong with my culture. I want to fix it. I don't criticize America or wear a mask or Boston because I hate it or hate myself or hate my people. It's because I love my people. And I'm tired of seeing them depressed and killing themselves and overdosing and drinking themselves to death and being miserable and hate-filled and anger-filled and living brutal fucking lives that they hate. In sexless, loveless, fucking hate-filled marriages, in jobs they fucking kill them that they hate. I don't like seeing that. That's why I wanted to change. That's why I say the shit I do on this podcast. It's not out of anger, resentment, or arrogance. It's out of love and compassion and frustration. And he says, you guys come from a culture, you eat GMOs. Your food ain't fucking real. It's poison. It's not for your body. Your food's made in a factory. It's chemicals. Everything you do throughout our lives, we get chemicals in our bodies from our cleaning products. Everywhere, we're getting chemicals in us. These poisons in our foods, in our showering gels, in our shampoos, everywhere throughout our life. You shit out like an ounce of plastic over the course of the year. We're getting all this shit, cigarettes, alcohol, all this stuff. And he tells us, he goes, all of this, your technology, the way you guys live with technology, you're not living a natural human existence. And because of that, the Yahe is forcing it out of you. That's why that's why you're having a harder time than other people, you gringos. That's why you guys are hurting so bad. That's why people from like Bogota, Mexico City, why are they hurting so bad? Because the people that live here, they're not on phones. They live beautiful, loving lives with their families. All the food they eat is real food. It's not made in a factory. They grew it on their land. They live a natural life and a free life. There's no one's masked up here. They're not showing vaccine papers. They're not distancing. You watch my videos, man. I watch my houses in places that would be considered slums. But if they want to build a house, they build a house. If they want to put an extension on their porch, they don't go down to their fucking city hall and buy a permit. All I hear is about America's free. Motherfucker, you can't build a fucking kitchen extension without permission. You can't build a porch without permission. You can't install new windows without permission. You can't do jack shit in this country without permission. We're not free. I know real freedom. Real freedom is when you wake up and you don't have to work a fucking job to exist. You want to profit, yeah. But just to exist. Because this is my land. Where we are paying every conceivable fee just to exist. It's a privilege for me to drive. It's a privilege for me to own a car. I got to have insurance. I'm always paying someone. Down here, they were free. And he told me. He goes, that's why it's hurting you guys so much. He goes, you were purged. I was shaking. Stuff was coming in. That second night, that consciousness came in again. I felt it. It was confusing. And it was there. And I felt something else being ripped out of me. I've told you I felt a demon before. Something in my lineage. Genetic trauma. There's something dark that came in at some point during my family's history and it's conquered so many of the men in my family. And I saw it once before through my third eye. My pineal gland, I felt it being ripped out of me like a demon possessed inside that night. I was like, all right. And I just talking to us, and he goes, this is love. This is medicine. This is natural. This comes from the earth. He goes, this is the real way people live. Living in a fucking box in the city in Manhattan? You think that's why? Why is it that America has the highest rates of anxiety, of depression? Everyone in America I talk to is suffering from some sort of mental ailment. We're the country that has it all, aren't we? Everyone in Western Europe, say Australia, Canada, everyone is in therapy. Everyone is suffering from anxiety and depression because we are living lives that don't spiritually agree with us. Human beings aren't meant to be on Instagram. They're not meant to be on Twitter, on TikTok. All right? They're not meant to be addicted to their own dopamine of their brain through porn and social media and video games. And I'm starting to see a new way of life. And I'm humbled. When I say to that day I was humbled, my brain was shut off. And here's the beauty of the ayahuasca. It kind of lingers in you throughout the day. It's not like it goes away. It's not like you're tripping. But during that day, I meditated for the first time. The background noise of my mind was being shut off. You know when you sit down in a bed or anywhere and you're bored and your mind goes, blah, 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 blah. How do you think about this? Here's you in third grade trying to make out with a girl and her saying no. Here's a potential scenario 40 years in the future where you die alone. Blah, 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 blah. Here's some things here. It was disappearing. It was just me sitting in a hammock watching ants on a log. But just watching them. I kept reminding myself, look at the spider. And I go, the spider just is what it is, Mike. It just is. Just let it be. Because my brain would be like, what do you think that spider's doing? I wonder. And I go, it's just a fucking spider. Let it be. What's that? It's an ant. The ant just is. Let it be. There's a lizard dancing for me. The lizard just is. Let it be. Let it be. Stop trying to conceptualize it and accept that it just exists. And I did that to myself. And my brain shut off that day. It shut off. The background noise just went away. And I was like, and I was reading a book about Hinduism, a book on religions, written in 1955 called The Religions of Man. And first section was about Hinduism. I got into Buddhism, but in Hinduism, it talked about, I realized Hindus have known, they said God is there. There are many paths to God. God's a mountaintop. You can take whatever road you want, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, whatever. They're all going to get you there. All good. Do what you want to do. But the infinite is inside you. Western culture has been looking outside of ourselves, and Indian culture realized that it's inside you. And I read a quote by Tolstoy where he said that when man exhausts the finite, he turns to the infinite or dies. He has two choices. He turns to the infinite or dies. My father chose death. Many of my friends and family have chosen death. I've chosen the infinite. The non-material, the thing beyond the physical. And I realize my link to that is from inside me. There's a power inside me and all of us that I haven't realized. And I'm reading this, and it's blowing my mind. And I'm really being able to read. I'm not distracted with that constant. You know when you try and read and you have a permanent ADHD? Why? Because your brain's been fucked up by TikTok and Instagram and constant stimulation and that dopamine. And I'm ready, man. I'm not going to fight it. I learned my lesson. My brain tried to conceptualize everything. I'm going in tonight. I'm shutting it off, and I'm letting go. And Taita told me, he goes, I say Jesus because that's how I was raised. But he goes, Hindus, Buddhists, they all have God. There is a Father, a Creator, a God, a force out there. Call it what you will, he says. Everyone has their own thing, but it is real and it's out there. Okay? And he goes, that's what Yahweh is. And it's from him and it's love. That's what Yahweh is. And he goes, it's medicine. Don't be afraid of it. I know you guys all had a hard time last night. You're going to have a hard time. You have to purge. It can't fix you until you get the poisons out of you, your corrupt ways of thinking, of anger and jealousy and hatred that you've been bred into you, of hating yourself. Because we're taught as kids to hate ourselves. If you love yourself, you don't buy shit. I don't need to buy makeup if I think I'm already beautiful. I don't need to buy dick pills if I already like my dick. I don't need to buy fucking medication for balding if I love myself. I don't care if I'm bald. I don't got to get surgeries if I already love myself, like cosmetic surgeries. I don't got to try and be more popular if I'm already cool. If I'm comfortable in my skin, I'm already fucking cool, man. And then you'll naturally be popular. And so, we go into our, we do back-to-backs. Tonight, the third night we're doing it, it's after that first one. And we're up till dawn, and we're having breakfast by 8, 9 a.m. So you get maybe a few hours of sleep. Occasionally you nap throughout the day. I can't really nap, but the ayahuasca makes you, so you get tired, but it's not the same. And we go into tonight. And I'm ready. My mind has been fucked up. I went in here trying to, ayahuasca despite Taita said it was like from God, it was the Father. And I'll explain my situation with that later. To me, ayahuasca was a feminine force. It was Mother Nature. It was the jungle. It was Earth. It was a goddess. It was a divine mother. And I went in there with a masculine arrogance trying to dominate her. And she fucked me up. She kicked my fucking ass. I realized I can't dominate this with my mind. I can't conceptually control this. And I go into my third night. Not my third night there, but third night of ayahuasca. Back to back from that night, they fucked me up. And I go into it, and we're all kind of changing. We can see it in each other that we're changing. We're all going through stuff. I go into it tonight. And as I'm waiting, my brain's shut off. I know I could do this. I'm not fully, but I'm pretty good there. I'm like just not thinking, just laying in my hammock. I'm at peace. And Taita told me, he goes, no, don't fear it. That conversation. He said, don't fear it. It's love. It's medicine. I know it hurts, but it's not the ayahuasca, the yahe that's fucking you up. It's the poison inside of you. And it hurts to get it out. It's like cleaning pus from a pimple. It's like getting cancer out of your body. It's the poison that's hurting you. You're purging physical bullshit. You're purging mental bullshit. That's what's hurting you. The yahe ain't fucking hurting you. It's the shit, and it's just making you realize what's inside of you. And it's getting that out. And I go into it. All right, we're doing this. Third night. And as I'm laying there, I hear a little flapping sound. This is a little dog, and I'll put up a picture of her. I forget her name. But she looked. She was like a mini Rottweiler. My dog Princess, the one I watched my father try and kill, was a Rottweiler. And we had joked, me and Marvin had joked, he was one of the guys on our trip, that the night before when there were several, we were like 4 or 5 of us guys were having a hard time. It was rough. Watching guys fall in the dirt and puke. It was rough, man. He said that he called out to God and he said, God, give me a sign. And the dog walked over, this same dog, and put her head in his hand. And we joked, you got a sign, because dog is God backwards. And as I'm sitting there, the dog walked up to me. I'm in my hammock and this dog is staring at me and I start patting her. She just stares at me. I'm patting her and she's licking me and she's staring at me and she kind of jumps up, puts her paws on me, and I realize she wants me to pick her up. Same dog that was a symbol of God to Marvin was now coming to me, and I go, the universe is sending you something, Michael. And I pulled her with me, and she lays there with me in the hammock. I call her my little Dios, God, little Dios. And I remember what Taita said. He's like, I say Jesus Christo, I say God, because I was brought up with that, but it's love, it's medicine, man. It's love, it's medicine, it's good for you. It's nature, it's real nature, the way man once communed with the earth and with himself. And, I'm sitting there and I'm holding the dog, and I go, oh, what if this is a symbol of God? Whatever, man, don't think, just be. It's just me and a dog, in a hammock, just be. My mind is shutting off. Just rocking, petting her. They come over because we're doing our first cup. Get in line. Mike, you're up next. I walk over barefoot through the dirt. I take my cup, and I look, and I see my reflection in the ayahuasca. In the yahe, I can see my face. I haven't seen my reflection yet. And they told me, they go, Mike, it'll work better if you sip it instead of chugging it. So I sip it, and it's, baby, that's a hot thing to sip. They give me some water. Go back to my hammock. The dog is waiting for me in my hammock. She's staring at me in the dark. I sit down, I put her on me, and I hold her with me as long as I can until I start finally really getting into my process. I'm going again. And I put her down, and I let go. And the consciousness comes in, and I don't fight it. I don't conceptualize it. My mind is just, every now and then, my mind would try and activate, and I would just be like, be quiet. Stop. Just, you're on it. You're not in charge. You're not on the ride. Let it happen. I know it's a neutral force, and I as a human have to think everything's good or bad. It just is. Remember what you said. It just is. Let it be. It just is, and it just was. And I had these kaleidoscopic visions, and I had shaked before, but now I was vibrating. My very muscles were vibrating in the hammock, shaking, but so small back and forth. My whole body vibrating. And my eyes have rolled in the back of my skull, and they're twitching. And if anyone comes over, I'm going to have to tell them, look, I'm okay. People would check in on me. I'm okay, but Mike isn't really here. I'm here. I'm in the back, but something else is here. And then I would just roll back into it. I'd lose control again. I kept giving. Whenever I would give in and let go, trying to control, I'm not in control of myself anymore. And I kind of had to puke, but I didn't. I held on, didn't puke or shit. I kept seeing these, bird people, strange kaleidoscopic visions just pouring throughout as I closed my eyes across the inside of my eyelids. What is this? What's going on? I'm not asking those questions. I just am. I'm on this voyage. I just am. I've let go. I'm not questioning. I'm just watching. My brain is off. I'm just chilling. And something else is there, and it's taking me on this journey. And I'm shaking, and my eyes are twitching in the back of my head like I'm possessed. And then it starts to fade, and I go, what the fuck? What the fuck, man? Man, it was good. And then all of a sudden, something happens. I have the most profound experience of my entire human existence. All this, the visions I had seen before, kaleidoscopic, they were on the insides of my eyelids, so it was coming through my eyes. This was in my head. This was my third eye. And there was no speaking because the thoughts were immediate. I didn't hear them. Everything was in my brain already. So things I heard, the things I saw through my brain, through my pineal gland, through my third eye. And there was a bright white light, and it was God. And it was bright, but it didn't hurt my eyes. I could stare at it. And it was warm, but it wasn't hot. And it was like a hug. And I saw like a vision of Jesus Cristo, but he came as Jesus Cristo. It was like not even like seeing. It was to explain what this sense was, I can't fully explain to you. It was like a sense similar to seeing and feeling and knowing, but different. And there was like an announcement in my head. It was instantaneous that, I knew this was God. But and it was like Jodie Fisher in the movie Contact, where she sees the aliens, but they show her father. And they go, we're in your mind and we're showing you something that you can metabolize. You're not going to be able to handle what we really are. And suddenly I see it for a glimpse. And I've been reading about this, and I believe that there are levels to consciousness in the universe, and that is how reincarnation would work. I understand it through Hinduism and through a great book called Chasing the Wild Pendulum, which is a book that used science to explain consciousness and the idea of reincarnation. And I see something just out in the stars, a consciousness one single consciousness, but made up of a million, at least, different consciousnesses, just as America's one country, but made up of 50 states. All of these consciousnesses were little bright orbs, like they were universes unto themselves, together forming one giant one. And it was a glimpse, and it was like, you can't handle that. I'm going to show you this, because this is easy. The whole God thing, Jesus Christos, you were just talking about that. That's very easy. We're going to go with that. Anyway, as his light shined on me, and all this was in a second, all of my pain and all of my anger, stuff that I didn't even know I had, it disappeared. It was gone. And I knew it was there because when it was gone, I felt that it was gone. In an instant, all of it was gone. It was just gone. And in its place was love. The bright light, the God, the consciousness, immediately pain and anger gone. And love like I have never felt before in my life. Pure love. And it was the happiest moment of my entire existence. I had never felt anything like this. I had compassion and empathy. I immediately realized my issues with that other guy, I was projecting my bullshit onto him. I realized that this anger I've had, this rigidity that I've walked around through the world with, a lot of it comes from the fact that I hated the child inside of me because he was a victim. I hated him. We all have an inner child, and I locked mine the fuck away. And he came out. I forgave anyone who ever wronged me. I forgave myself. I let go of my guilt and my shame. All of that, and it was gone. And it was beautiful. And I tried to shit a piss, and I come back, and Cole sees me. He goes, "How's it going, Mike?" I go, "Cole, I saw God. And he took away all my pain and all my anger. And now I just have love and empathy and compassion." And he hugged me. He goes, "That's amazing, dude. That's beautiful." And I went back to my hammock and I cried. Not out of pain like the night before. I cried tears of joy. Tears of beauty. I didn't know I could cry. And I was reborn, a new man, and just in this little moment, I had so much empathy and compassion. And the time came for a second dose, and I went up. And I thought, I want more of this love, man. And I took a second dose. And I regretted taking it because I went to fucking hell. I went to hell. Not necessarily that place, hell. I don't think that exists, but I went to a version of it in my mind, because whatever I was fucking with, that energy, I tried to get more. And it was more than a human mind, a human body could handle. This is a energy or a consciousness beyond the realms of this plane. From a higher plane of existence, whatever you want to call it, a different dimension, different world, different something else. It's not made to fit. Okay, I'm trying to download 18 gigabytes into a hard drive that has 12 megabytes, and it's over fucking loaded. I'm trying to play a brand new Call of Duty on Windows 95. I can't. And what happened next? I got up finally, and I'm not feeling good. What's going on, man? This is after this most beautiful, transcendent experience where I was filled with love and compassion, and the final vestiges of my fears of death were gone. I said I didn't fear death, but I realized after this, I was hanging on to certain things, and they left me. But then this happened, and I got up, and I go, I'm a fucking puke. Okay, wow, because I didn't puke earlier. I go, all right, I got to fucking, whoa. I run out, I trip and fall in a fucking ditch, and the others see me. I fall, I run over. I put my hands around my fucking ankles, and I puke like I've never puked. This was the greatest puke of and as I puke, I close my eyes, bam, fucking kaleidoscopic visions. I am having 100 tabs of acid hit me at once. I'm booted up with a shot of adrenaline. I just ate an ounce of mushrooms. I have never tripped like this in my fucking life. Anxiety, panic attacks, stress that make the other 2 nights seem like a walk in the fucking park. When I say that my sense of self is obliterated, my brain is being scraped of the last vestiges of who Michael Bain, as I am on the verge of falling down, puking, and the others can hear me. And you feel like you're in your own world, but you're not. And you can hear me dry heaving bile, screaming as I'm tripping beyond. I have to fucking diarrhea as I can barely fucking wipe myself. I come back to the fucking, to the hammock. My skin is boiling. I've ripped my blanket off. I am being burned alive. I am suffocating. I can feel myself drowning. I can feel my body dying. Whatever is coming into me, it's killing me. It's fucking killing me. I can feel my eyes, and my eyes are in pain. It's like they're being sucked out of my fucking skull. They're ripped out of bulging out of my fucking head. I'm like Arnold Schwarzenegger in that scene in Total Recall. All of my body is I have never felt physical pain like this before. Not just physical pain, but I have fear and anxiety. I'm dying. This is it. And I can feel my brain, who Mike Bain is really dying now. It's ripping me out of I am losing complete fucking control, and I'm fighting it. I try to give in. Like you gave in before, Mike, and you went to God. I can't give in. It won't fucking let me. I try, and it's destroying me. It's ripping my fucking insides out. My organs are fucking exploding. I'm fucking dying. I'm fucking dying. If hell is real, it's what I went through. It is simultaneously spiritual, physical, and mental pain. It was like needles were digging into my fucking brain. Not physically, but mentally. And I was being ripped out of myself. And I realized, and periodically the girls on either side would, you okay? I'm not doing too well. I go back into it. I'm staring at the fire to I'm trying to not, because I'm on the edge of an abyss. And I'm on the verge of, Cole had told me, translate, hey, if you need help, ask us for help. It's okay to when you're having a bad process. This is the worst trip of my fucking life. I have never tripped harder. I didn't know a human being could trip like this. This is beyond the realm of any hallucinogen I have ever seen. And Taita told me ayahuasca is king. There's nothing like ayahuasca. Yahi is fucking king. It is nothing I don't give a fuck. DMT's for 15 minutes, motherfucker. This is for 3 hours. And every second is an eternity. I'm fighting, and I realize I'm going to lose this fucking battle. I'm like, I'm going to lose this battle, and I realize I'm going to have to fucking scream and beg. Taita, help me. I'm going to have to scream it. They're going to have to stop playing music. The entire ceremony is going to have to end. They're going to have to come over, because if I do that, if I scream for help, I'm going to fall out of this fucking hammock. I'm going to fall out of this fucking hammock. I'm going to roll around in the dirt, flailing like a wild beast as I scream in tongues and obscenities, is screaming at the top of my lungs. And they're going to have to restrain me and tie me to a fucking tree. This is what's going to happen, and I'm on the brink of this. I'm on the brink of fully screaming, losing my fucking mind, and rolling around in a fucking ditch. It's gonna happen. I see it's happening. I'm almost there. I'm losing my fucking mind. Mike Bain's dead. He's gone. He ain't here anymore. That thing, that person, that's not there. Where is it? And my brain is like, where are you? Where is Mike Bain? Where is my mind? Where is my soul? It's not here. It's fucking gone. It's ripped out of me. All of this happening while I'm physically in pain. And at some point I see Cole and Vinay at the bottom of my hammock. Cole, they had noticed me violently having an episode in the jungle, puking. I was running back and forth to the shitter, and I didn't bring my flashlight. Thankfully my third eye was open, so I kind of just knew the way, but I'm stumbling. Cole's stops me. He goes, you have to be careful. You're going to get hurt. And they had told me bring a flashlight because there's snakes in the jungle that can bite you that they don't have anti-venom for, and it'll kill you. There are venomous snakes. There are tarantulas. Finney had a tarantula jump on his back during a ceremony. There are scorpions. Watch where you fucking step. I don't care. I can't care. My brain's not working. And I'm like, open my eyes, and they're at the bottom of my hammock. And they're whispering and then staring at me. And in a trip like that, I'm paranoid. And I close my eyes and go, please leave. Please leave. Please leave. Please leave. I know I need help. I'm like, they know I'm fucking on the brink of a psychotic break. They know what's going to happen. They know it's coming. I'm dying. My brain is gone. My Bain's dead. I'm psychotically going to collapse. I'm going to be crippled for the rest of my fucking life. They know. And I open my eyes and they're still there staring, whispering. But they were just seeing if I was okay. Eventually they leave. And I keep reminding myself every now and then, it was like I was in a sea of chaos. It was like I was hanging on to a boat in a fucking hurricane by just my pinky to a rope, just hanging on. There was a little vestige of myself, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. You have to fight this. You went through all of this. You can do this, Michael. That little part of me way deep, like a faint fucking voice in the back of my skull was like, you can do this. You're still alive. I'm still here. You can do this. I'm not dead yet. Screaming. Trying to scream, but it's a whisper. You're still... And then it would come out. I'd come back and it would go, love. Remember the love. Remember the love of God. That white light. And I would picture love the way it was in a Hallmark card. And I would chant it to myself in the middle of my mind. I would focus on it, trying to meditate. Love, 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 love. And it'd bring me back for a minute. You can do this. You can fight. You have to do this, Michael. And I was like, you have to do this on your own. You have to prove yourself. It's fine if you ask for help, Michael. But you got yourself here. You have to. You're being reborn. Get up. Fight, love. And then I would fall back into the sea of chaos and I'd shake. And the pain and the burning and the eyes being ripped out of my head. My blood was boiling. And I could feel it as who am I? What am I? I could feel my soul scraped from my fucking skull. Obliteration of self. Complete losing of mind, completely going into the abyss. And I come back little by little. It's fading. I'm staring at the fire. I'm using the fire to base myself. Love, love, love. I was close to the fire this time. All the other times I was farther away from the fire. I can see the fire this time. It's small. Love, love, love. I'm fighting. I'm fighting. And then slowly it's dissipating. And I'm like, I'm out of it. And then I'm back. And I'm in the sea of fucking death and chaos. And I'm suffering. I'm in hell. I'm burning in so many ways, like needles piercing my fucking soul. I know I keep saying this. I can't express to you what happened to me. I didn't think I was, wow. I come out of it, slowly it's dissipating. And I remind you, these hours felt like an eternity. And it's slowly coming to an end. In little bits, and I go back into it, but the spaces out of it are longer, and finally I'm laying there, and all I would do is, fuck. They would hear me groaning. My muscles had spasmed. I was in pain like I've never been in. Pain like I've been beaten. And while I was in the thick of it, at one point I rolled over, and the dog was staring at me. She had come back to me, and I was like, God is still with me. You haven't abandoned me. She licked my face, and I rolled over, and I turned back, and she was gone. I realized I'm not alone. God is with me, but it's my responsibility to get out of this. God doesn't come in with the God hand, Deus Ex Machina. He can only guide you. And I fought my way through that, and I guess I regretted taking that second dose, but I think it was important I did. And some other guys had some rough trips that night, and they knew I did. Morgana said she felt something dark in the Maloka that night, but maybe it was something dark coming out of me after the good came in. And I watched, when I was through it, I watched someone else at the foot of my hammock fall on his hands and knees and puke his guts out into the dirt, into the jungle. And he rolled over and he screamed, a grown man, screaming bloody murder and crying like a child as I had done, but in front of us, screaming wails of agony as I sit there. And I saw a light around him. Whatever had come to me gave me revelations about 3 people there, and I saw a light around him. I told him the next day, I said, God is with you. I saw the light with you. You couldn't touch it yet, but it was there. and it was, eventually I sat there. I went back to the circle, beaten, battered, and I played music with them. These songs and chanting that had terrified me, I was one with it. Now when I heard people puking, it didn't scare me. When I heard them groaning, I realized they were getting out their demons. I was happy for them. I would sit there and write on, get it out, brother. Get it the fuck out of you. You can do it. I'm rooting. All this stuff was now beautiful to me. It wasn't frightening. The darkness wasn't frightening. The songs weren't frightening. The chanting wasn't frightening. The puking and groaning and pain wasn't frightening. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to me. And I sat there in that circle, broken and in pain. I turned to Taita, Malucha is one of the women there, his sister-in-law. She got dressed up. And tonight, there were other people there tonight. It was tonight or the night before. A 12-year-old girl came. As her coming of woman ceremony, she dressed up in a big dress and had her hair braided. And they start their kids off young. Taita had been doing this since he was 15. His Taita, we almost met him, is 108 years old. He's been doing ayahuasca since he was 8. He's been doing it for 100 fucking years, before the First World War. They start their kids off in small doses, around 5 or 6. They prepare them for this so they don't go through what we go through. This is love. This is them communing. And we sat in a circle. I'm shaking fucking maracas. I'm clapping. I'm chanting. I'm in the fucking group playing music with everyone. I'm a part of this. And we're all on the same wavelength. And my eyes are closed, but I can see them. It was like Neo at the end of the Matrix. When he was blinded, he could just see warmth and energy and light. I knew where everyone in that circle was when I closed my eyes. And I kept my eyes closed and I could see everything. I could see everyone in front of me, even in the darkness when my eyes was closed. Through my third eye, I could see him through that center point in my head. And we did rape, which I have a video of. I did this one time when we went to the river and we floated down the river on a blow-up mattress. Rape is, I had coca leaves I would periodically chew sometimes at the end. And rape, but they weren't doing it for me. But Taita and Cole, I found, and the other local guys, they would take this stuff. I found out what that green stuff is from that first gringo I met. What they do is they take a sticky tobacco. You open up your lip, you stick it in here like you're doing a dip, and then they take this green powder, and it's a combination of ground up coca leaves and roots and some other stuff, and you scoop it up and you put it in there. But unlike the coca leaves or cocaine that gives you a rush, it calms you. Tobacco is supposed to be a stimulant, but together it calms you, makes you feel so at peace. It's the most relaxing thing I've ever done. And they would give me some after. I'm sitting there, I'm in the circle. And Malucha asked me, Taita says, how are you doing? And I, ¿Cómo estás, Michael? ¿Cómo estás? And I go, Taita, me. I point to my eyes and I go, sí, Dios. I said, I saw God. And me, sí, Jesus Cristo. And he goes, Michael, he goes, and Malucha goes, yay. Everyone was happy for me. And I realized how loving these people were, that it was my own, I didn't think anything ill of them, but this distance I had was not their making, it was my own. I'm the man living a non-human lifestyle, a technological strange. They are man and woman in their natural forms, happy. No fight over masculine and feminine. The men go out into the field and they harvest the food. The women cook it. But they're not weak women, because Taita's wife ran that fucking kitchen and she made sure whenever we were in there, we were fucking fed. But in our culture, that's something to be frowned upon. They raised their daughters. I watched how happy their daughters were when they were raised to be women. That ceremony that she came to, all of it was beautiful. I saw their way of life, and I saw how happy they were. Their kids weren't addicted to tablets. They were playing with a fucking parrot that they owned, playing with animals. And I realized the jungle isn't evil. My whole life I've been taught, like through Conrad's Heart of Darkness, or we've always been taught the forest is bad, especially the jungle. Oh man, you go to the jungle, you're going to die. Or you're going to get all these diseases. The jungle is life. As I sat the next day, I achieved full fucking zen. When I walked out the next morning for breakfast, everyone stopped eating and they looked at me and they said, "You're a different person." And I was lighter. Whatever weight of anger had been taken off me. And I was kinder and nicer to everyone. And my eyes felt different. They felt brighter. Like there was a universe, a blue universe in my eyes. So bright I could feel it. My eyes, everyone said, your eyes are different. You're different because my eyes are the gateway to my soul, and my soul is different. I was a different human being, and everyone looked at me and knew it. They said, "You're not the man who came here 4 days ago. You're not the man we met in Bogota." I was a different fucking human being. I changed, and I was happy I changed. And we sat down, I told everyone what I went through. Told them what I saw about them. And I had zero anxiety. The anxiety I've lived with for forever was gone. No depression, no stress, no pain, all of it gone. Pure Zen. I felt like the Buddha, man. I felt like Buddha. I sat in my hammock and I watched leafcutter ants climb up a tree all day. Just at peace. When's the last time you've been able to just sit down and just sit without anything? I want you to think because what do? You get anxious, you rip out your phone. I was just peace and content and love. I could meditate without meditating. That constant jibber-jabber in the back of my head just gone. I was there, my conscience was there. He was just chilling in the back. Just chilling like a thug, just chilled out. Sitting cross-legged, just at peace. I let it be. I was one with the world, with nature, and I realized all my life I've been told the jungle's dangerous. The jungle is, I watched 30 types of different species of butterfly in that day. Lucky if there's 30 different species up in New England. I know there's more, but it's tough to see over the course of a year. I know I dated an entomologist. And I realized I'm watching lizards and birds and frogs and fish and all insects I never knew existed. And I realized I'm surrounded by life. All these trees and plants and flowers. The jungle isn't death, it's life. Everything I've been taught has been wrong. Up is down, down is up. Death is Manhattan. It's an island filled with steel and rock where soot-covered trees struggle to exist, where the only wildlife are flea-infested rats and dirty pigeons and a man. But a human being who is fighting with all his might not to be what he is. As Albert Camus said, man is the only animal that tries to not be what he is. As Mike Tyson said, man is an animal trying to not be an animal. We're fighting this. And I stopped fighting it. I just was one with nature, with everything. And it was beautiful. I can't express, I would have paid $100,000 to do what I did, to have this feeling. That's how it was better than any drug. And all of my bad habits, my desire for them was gone. I was done. I don't want my fucking phone. All my sexual proclivities that I'm not happy with were gone. I still want love and whatever, but I don't want to get my dick sucked at some point. I like to party. But it wasn't. What porn had done to my mind was gone. My caffeine addiction was gone. The food I'm eating now tasted better than it ever tasted. I stopped putting salt in my food. I've realized I've been putting so much salt in my food. I have a sodium addiction. I have a sugar addiction. I have a caffeine addiction. I have an addiction to dopamine through porn and social media, video games. It was all gone. The ayahuasca had physically and spiritually reset me, just as it had reset heroin addicts and cocaine addicts who had come before. It reset me at a baseline. I started over. I was reborn. Literally, I was like, holy shit, I have the mind that I had when I was 14 and it hadn't been tainted yet. But with all the experience and knowledge of the world, it was insane. Third night I did it 5 nights. Anyway, rapé, as I said, is when they take crushed up tobacco, they put it in like a pipe that they stick up your nose, and then they blow it up into you. And depending on how they blow it, they can like, there's a hero dose where they put a lot and blow it up into the end. That's made people pass out and puke. But anyway, that night I did that coca powder, the tobacco, and rapé. And they told me, I put my hands up like this, like I was meditating. And someone said, concentrate. Marvin said, concentrate right here in the middle of your head where your third eye is. And I did. And I meditated in a way I've never meditated before. This was right after. The rapé allowed everything to wash away. And my body felt cold. And all the heat came right there in the center of my head. And I could feel all the warmth and all the energy of my soul right fucking there, glowing. And there were no thoughts, just me existing. Just pure Zen, pure fucking enlightenment. Anyway, the food is amazing. They made us fried chicken that day. Best fucking, I've never had fried chicken like this. This was the best. They slaughtered, they got the chicken. It was raised on cornmeal. That's why the skin was yellow. On maize, excuse me. Slaughtered him. My God in heaven, I've eaten fish, and the fish was great, but this chicken, the food I ate, the juice wasn't that sweet. Because the juice we drink in the U.S., it's filled with fucking sugar. You drink juice and you go, why isn't this juice doesn't taste sweet at all? Why does my hot chocolate not sweet? Because we've been addicted, man. We've been poisoned. It made us fat. And I was like, holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. And anyway, fourth night, we take a break, 1 or 2 nights. We end up doing another night. And this time, tons of people come. Bunch of Mexicans come. There was kids there. Like some woman brought like a 5-year-old. They were dressed up. Locals came. A lot of like hippies from Mexico, different groups who had come before. There was like 30 fucking people in the Maloka, man. It was tight quarters, and I was farting, and people had to smell my farts. They complained later on. Anyway, I do 1 dose at night, and it didn't hit me. And I had realized that I don't need to do more because I've already achieved what I wanted to achieve. What happened, I can't express to you what happened to me. It changed me, dude. Changed me. I was a different man. I'm like, what am I chasing, Mike? I don't need to get it out. I take it. I don't puke. I kind of feel nauseous, kind of briefly, and I realize that it's what was going on is it's prepping me. It's like, don't be arrogant when you get back and you're around people who haven't seen what you've seen. They're not gonna understand. Whatever. But, and don't get mad if they call you crazy because they will. What is gonna happen? And I get, And it doesn't really hit me. And I go into the people are playing. Everyone's playing music. Tons of the hippie dudes brought all their, and it wasn't a huge dose. And some people go in for seconds. And they're all, everyone brought a different. It turned into a hippie jam fest, to be honest. And it was kind of a very weird vibe. Some of the guys were kind of like, you could feel them. They had a different energy. It was different. I wasn't passing judgment. I was like, but some of the people felt uncomfortable. It just wasn't a good life for anyone. Some of them fucking stunk too. But whatever. What are you going to do? I'm not, new Mike didn't pass judgment, okay? I had my experience. I went rafting in the fucking river. I got bitten by these giant fucking black bees. And I was like, I can't believe I'm out here living this. Several nights ago, I was like, what am I doing here? And I'm like, I don't want to leave. Every day was forever. I felt like weeks had gone by. Last night didn't work. We then end up rolling into my second to last night there. It was a Saturday, and we do it. And this night, I go down to, and my hammock is separated from the other ones. I'm like, I don't have to do a hero dose. I've already achieved enlightenment. I'm a new me. Everyone's noticing. I'm doing yoga. And the pain in my muscles that I get a pain in my right side in my thumb for using my phone too much. I'm getting arthritic thumb, but also from leaning my head down. When you lean your head down and look at your phone, it was hurting me. And I don't know. And I realized that that's all the pain of my body being reborn. Like the muscles are for new. My whole body felt new. I did yoga. I felt great. I meditated. I was at peace. One of my friends started using her phone again. And she slept in the same room as me, and I could feel the glow of her phone. I could feel it, and it was toxic to me. I could feel it like a poisonous light seeping out. Even though I had my eyes closed and I was facing the other way, I could feel the glow of that technology. And I didn't like it. I didn't fucking like it, man. Ended up second to last day, we walked into town. Well, you can't even call it a town, man. It's just a few buildings, some very makeshift stuff. There's a cantina there, and people are having fun. They're drinking in there. There's like a 14-year-old girl doing shots. There's no age limits out here. People are doing whatever, man. Living real free. People here don't rely on the government. So the government doesn't have the balls to come out here and tell them what to fucking do. You ain't done shit for me, government. This road ain't even a real road. But these Colombians love, like in America we have gummy snacks. Colombians love marshmallow snacks. Gummy marshmallows. And there was sour marshmallows. I ate two and I was like, this sugar was so intense. I thought I was going to puke. Having been my system reset to sugar. I then, we go into our last night. All right. And I do it. Again, as I said, my hammock's very far from everyone else's. I'm off kind of very far from the fire. And it's not that far. It's a few feet. But when you're tripping, it's fucking far. And this night, we do it. And I do it. And I go, this was a bigger dose than last night. I noticed, because I've been counting gulps, this was 3 big gulps. Holy baloney, but it's just us gringos. So Taita doesn't have to focus on all those other people. Maybe he gave us more now. I'm sure that's what he did. And this was the longest silence we've ever had until Taita started the ceremony of waiting. And I'm waiting, and, I'm letting go, and I'm like, all right, we can, and it's hitting me harder. And I go, all right, we're going to do this. We're good, Mike. We've already achieved enlightenment. And I feel something off to my left. Over by where the river is, there's a bench over there on the other side of the Maloka. People sometimes go chill over there when they're tripping. We've been so blessed to have amazing moonlight and amazing stars throughout these nights. Beautiful. Beautiful beyond belief. Staring at, we would just stand out there in the jungle on the Ayahuasca and stare at the universe. Unlike anything you've ever fucking seen. And to my left, I don't know why, but I'm feeling like a nature energy over here behind my left shoulder. And then I look back to my right, and I just have visions of metallic structures walking around like spiders. And I'm like, I don't like that. It's not bad, but I'm going to go over here, lean over here with nature over my left shoulder. And after a long time, very long time, Taita finally starts chanting. But he's over there. He's always over at the fire. Taita was going through his own process tonight. Because when Taita goes through shit, he doesn't have someone to go to. He has to be the man all the fucking time. He can't show weakness. He can't show despair. That's fucking tough. And he's going through his own shit. And he was way over at that bench at the river. He was over my left shoulder in that way. And I somehow knew. Like I knew. Like I could feel his energy, and it felt. And tonight, I said, God the Father came to me. Tonight the Mother came to me. I could feel the ayahuasca in me before. But this was nothing. And this was like a maternal energy. I felt the paternal energy when I felt God. This was maternal energy. This was Mother Nature herself. And she said, you tried to conquer me and you can't. You tried and I beat your ass. I love you. But she goes, man, you men always do this. Mankind. Have you not learned? You try every civilization. You try to conquer me. You try to conquer death. You can't. That's Mother Nature. You try and conquer the elements. You can't. Every fucking time. She goes, how many hurricanes do I got to send? You know how many? She was like, it was more like, it wasn't exact words, but it was like being put into by my third eye. You know, you always, every civilization, Rome used to bring animals in. Most gladiatorial aims were men killing animals, fighting animals. It wasn't gladiators fighting other gladiators. It was mostly 75% of the time men fighting animals. Why? It was the Romans proving they conquered nature. Every civilization had to prove that they conquered. I've conquered you, Mother Nature, and really it was trying to conquer death, and you've never done it. And we're doing it now like with hubris we've never done. You can't conquer nature with your technology. And we're doing it with COVID and all the... You can't, you will die. And death isn't anything to be afraid of. It's okay. It's a doorway to another place. You were born to die. Death is something you're supposed to talk about with your family. It's not something you're supposed to be weird about. That's what I love about Latin culture. And like, they have the Day of the Dead in Mexico. People die. It's okay. You're supposed to die, motherfucker. You're not going to live forever. And Western society is living in a cult of all of our anxiety so often comes from our fear of death. I'm gonna die. We pretend like it's never gonna happen. And in order to avoid thinking about it, we do drugs and watch porn and fuck hookers. And do what everyone fucks hookers. Come on. Well, we do whatever we can to avoid dealing with it. Think about death right now. Right now. Just think about you dying. It's fucking you up, isn't it? It doesn't fuck me up anymore. It hasn't fucked me up in a while, but it really don't fuck me up anymore. Because it's natural and you're supposed to die. And we don't have spirituality or any religion or anything like that. So we're very much not in an atheist cult. And I used to be an atheist. It's fine if you are, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a cult of depression and it's nihilistic narcissism. I've watched my dad go his way through atheism. It ain't a fucking good way, man. I'm just telling you. I'm not saying you should believe in something so you don't feel pain. I'm just saying that humans ain't supposed to live like that. There is something bigger than you, and it's inside you. If you want to look for it, it's there. Saying I know there's nothing is as ridiculous as saying I know there is a God, because it's faith. And you're supposed to not like faith, huh? Mm-hmm. Trust me, I know. I've done this. I was one of the most ardent atheists you've ever met in your life. And I know there's something out there, man. This confirmed it for me. I did what people want. I had my come to God moment. And that last night I had my come to mother moment. And, as we're getting into the ceremony, something falls from the roof of the Maloka, hits me in the fucking face, right in the cheek, something wet. And I go, what the fuck? Because there's fucking there's shit up there. So I take my blanket and I cover my face. And I just cover myself and I sit in my hammock. And I hear flapping. Dogs flapping his ears. It's not the same dog, different dog, but God is here. Different dogs. Maybe it's mother. And it's funny, when I told someone I saw God, they go, what would she look like? And I go, why are you so obsessed with that? God is, they're both, the mother and father are yin and yang. One is earth, one is sky. But, that feminism of just hating your own femininity and fighting for masculinity, it's so toxic in Western culture, and it doesn't exist in their culture at all. Just men and women loving being men and women and loving each other. And this place of love, and the love came back to me, man. It was warm. It came back. What I had chased came back to me my entire trip. It came back to me, except it was coming from maternal now. And I realized I was changing. At one point, Cole came over to me, and he he goes, oh, Mike, I think you were way over here. How's it going, dude? And I go, Cole. I lift down my blanket. I go, I'm a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. I said, man, I'm a caterpillar that's hatching into a butterfly. And he goes, that's fucking rad, dude. And he fist bumps me and he told someone else. So they knew I was having a great time. Some other guys had a rough time. I had a beautiful time that night. I was, man, it was the greatest night of my fucking life. Almost as good as the other one. I could feel myself changing, though. I realized Mother Nature. So I started feeling like I was going to have to puke. And I felt a fucking hand touch my belly and just go, push it aside. And then immediately, my need to puke was gone. And whatever was communing with me, whatever was in me, the ayahuasca itself, Mother Nature, the Divine Mother goes, you don't have to puke. It's all good. You were puking up bad shit. Now it's just me and you. All right? And I'm good for you. And I'm going to become one with you. You know, and I was like, oh, shit. And, and she's like, it's all love. This is medicine. Keep it inside you. And I could feel myself morphing, this ayahuasca in me, nature morphing with me. And I had this intense vision where I lived a lifetime where I went into the jungle and I found these fairies, like woodland fairies, except their skin was like bark and moss, and they were dancing like, play with me. And I go, oh, okay, I'll dance, play with the fairies. And we're like, and one of them is a female, but I can tell she's beautiful woman. And as I spend time with them, she's like, run away with me. I become one of them. Just like in Avatar, how that guy becomes like, makes it with the princess, alien princess. I did that with this fairy princess. And over time, I became one of them with wings and smaller. And my skin turned to bark and moss and nature. And I came across some gringo white girl years later in my life as a fairy. And she had a phone. I go, I was speaking a weird language. I go, what is this? And I crawl up on her shoulder and she shows me. It's technology. And I go, once upon a time I used this. I was a different person. And I get a weird feeling because I've forgotten who I was before. Mike in America, all that's gone. But I'm happy. I realize that if I give into this, I will let go of my prior life. But this new life will be one of no anxiety or pain, just happiness, dude. That thing I've been fighting for, except I just can't have it in my old life. And bam, I get anxiety looking at that technology in my vision. I go, oh, fuck, that's what it brings back. But can I walk away from that world? The vision dissipates. Eventually I'm back. I lived a lifetime as that fucking fairy dude. Lived a lifetime as I can come back. And I can feel myself in this hammock morphing and changing. And I'm morphing and I can feel my body going through. And I'm writhing in here like I'm in a cocoon. My hammock and blanket became a cocoon. And finally, after all this time, I take it off and I'm stretching. My muscles anew just like a butterfly or moth coming out of a pupa. I farted so fucking loud, dude. Oh my God. Just ripped the longest. I go to get up. I'm going to go hang out with the circle with Titan and then playing music. I get up. Wow. There goes all my energy. I laid back for like another 2 hours. Just laid there. Just so feeling amazing. Like I was kind of tired, but not in that painful way before, in a beautiful way. And like I said, the night before, it hadn't really worked because all those people, tonight it worked. And it prepared me. And like I had this kind of vision where she goes, and there's a weird thing, like Mother Nature was impregnating me as a man. She was putting seeds into me. And she just goes, put my seeds in the hearts of those who want to hear me. And that way you spread this to the world. You're going to spread this. Other people don't know about this, but I can't grow everywhere. I can only grow in the Amazon. Spread this knowledge and this love. And that's how you spread me. And I was like, oh shit. And I'm laying in here pupating as I'm getting seeds planted in me. And finally, I come out, I fought. I'm just laying there stretching. I'm stretching in this, oh my God, my muscles. And I'm stretching. Wow. Just finally, I try. I'm like, oh, but everyone's coming by. You okay? And I go, I'm fucking beautiful. I hear other people puking, and I'm like, get it out, brother. Get it out. Someone else having a hard time. I'm puking and yelling and groaning. Get it out, brother. You can get it out. I'm feeling, God, I'm so at peace and so filled with love and compassion and empathy. Forgiveness, everything. It's like, wow. Wow. That's what Jesus and Buddha felt. What the f? No wonder people loved him. It was amazing. Total empathy and understanding of my enemies and everyone. And finally, Finney comes over, calling. They're like, oh, we want you to come over. Ty just, one by one, Ty just spraying people with, the stuff. And as I sit there, everyone else goes to bed, and they hand me drums. Ty plays a song about Christ. And I play the song with him.
Alguien que yo amo con todo el corazón, porque tan solo él mi vida transformó. Andando yo errante sin fe y sin amor, inclino sus ojitos y en mí él se fijó. El lirio más hermoso es mi Cristo el Señor, que perfuma mi alma y mi pobre corazón.
And I'm playing the drums with him. Boom, boom, boom. They hand me maracas. I'm playing deep into the night, doing rape, doing the other stuff, playing. Poor one of my buddies, Marvin, was having a rough night that night, and he gets up, and he's, when someone's tripping, and they go, oh, we're trying to rub something off him. And I was like, oh, dude, it's, we're like, oh, relax, there's nothing there. Happens again, gets up, oh. We're like, dude, there's nothing on you, just whatever. Third time, finally, Malucha goes, oh. I look on his back, 8-inch long fucking stick bug was crawling up his back. Now, they don't bite, but when you're tripping in the jungle and he does not want to come off, he's holding on. And poor Marvin, he can feel this thing crawling on him. I yanked him off and threw him into the jungle, and we just stayed there. Marvin and I playing drums with Taita. They played music into the night. It's my last night tripping, going through the process, going through my journey. And I felt fully reborn and ready for the world. And then I came back. I came back to civilization. I got tested because on the next day 2 days later, I came back. It's like, I'm good. I don't need to do any more ayahuasca. I'm coming back anyway. Sad to see everyone go. Hugged. Goodbye. I felt like I had spent a lifetime with all these people, with the family. These people welcomed me into their home. They fed me alongside their family, alongside their kids. I have videos. I'll put them up. You'll see them of some of the girls. One of the girls always wanted to see my camera. I let her play with it a few times. You'll see those ones. Let her play with the GoPro. We come back. And it's just me, Morgana, and Joel this time. The other guys stay longer. And, I'm starting to get agitated as I'm coming back. I'm in this long car ride, and I'm like, whatever. I am zen. But things kind of, nothing could have bothered me. But things are starting, I go, what the fuck? And then I get back, and I'm out of cash. Not only because I didn't get to go, we were in such a rush coming down, I didn't get more of my cash transferred, but also my bank merged with another bank while I was in Colombia, and now my old bank card won't work. Now, thankfully, they had mailed me out a new one, but my new fucking PIN code won't work for my ATM, and they won't give me one over the fucking phone. They're like, we have to mail one to you. And I go, dude, I'm in another country. They're like, no. And I go, look, I need to access my money. No. Oh, so I'm looking into getting a cash advance through my credit card, but they charge outrageous fucking shit to do that. So thank God, finally, the people I'm with, they front me some cash, and I Venmo them until I can, I use my card for the rest of the trip wherever I can. I have this cash on me that holds me over because it's Colombia. I'm not spending a bunch of money. Problems with planes. Everyone else is going home. Everyone else is like, dude, we cannot. Everyone's like, we got to go straight home after this journey. Because other people had changed too. And the same person I had been aggravated with, I'm completely cool with now. I had been projecting my shit onto him. Did I find him kind of irksome? Yeah, he was doing some irksome things, but also he changed too. He became more loving by the end of it, and I did as well. So and, we're all cool and went back. And I'm going to Medellin because I wanted to go meet a friend. I wanted to go back and do my YouTube thing. And I realized I'm not functioning. I didn't use my cameras really because I couldn't videotape this. It would have ruined it for me. I didn't want to fuck up the sanctity of this. This was something I realized early on. If I try videotaping this, I'm going to ruin something beautiful. So I didn't. I didn't try and videotape any of the fucking ceremonies. It is what it is. I wish I had videos of it, but at the same time, maybe it's best that I don't. This was something else, man. And I come back, and I'm having a hard time interacting with other people. I'm having a very my eyes still feel different. When I stare at people, I don't look away. My stare has never been more direct in my life. Confidence is an all-time high. I'm at peace. I'm loving. And I go to this hostel that I went to, those patios that I had been into my first time in Colombia. I went there because I knew when I went to Medellin, because I had booked I didn't went there because that's what my flight was for. It took me forever to fucking get there. I didn't get in until late. Everyone's harassed. Gringo, harassing me. I'm like, oh, God damn it. I don't want to. And my Zen is being tested, man. I am being tested beyond belief. And I'm like, oh, God, I just want to go rebuild myself because I'm so different. I can't interact. I'm on the airline bus and I'm dancing. Dude, I'm dancing to music. I started dancing. I dance now. I listen to music and I dance in the fucking woods. I have to maintain it because as I've come back, here's the thing. Society started creeping back in slowly in this Colombian city, technology and all this other stuff. I started using my phone again because I kept trying to find an Airbnb but they were all overpriced. Medellin had become super expensive since I'd been there before. Not crazy, but like $100, $50 to $100 a night for an Airbnb. And I just want privacy. And I also kind of want to get laid. I haven't come in like 11 days. My sex drive was poof when I was on ayahuasca. I gotta fucking, I want to test this out, man. Mike wants to get some pussy. See what the new Mike thinks about booty. And I actually did. I got head, right away, just with someone and whatever, and it didn't work. It worked on a physical level, right? Like I got that physical release, but then immediately I was done because I hadn't come in 12 days. So I was like, oh, I'm out of it. But then I was like, oh, shit. This is just sex in the finite. I knew this was going to happen. I need more. I need to really like the woman I'm with. But it's going to be like a deeper attraction. There has to be a connection deeper. I need to have my finite physical needs fulfilled, but also my spiritual needs fulfilled from her as well because I like her. I end up, and dude, it's crazy how these days felt so long. And by I came in on Monday night. By Wednesday, I was feeling better, and I had booked a Thursday, Friday. I had booked a what do you call it? Airbnb for myself because I was like, maybe I'll get, I'll bring some girls back, whatever, man. I'm gonna have some fun. But then I got fucked up because it didn't work. Going on a date with a girl I met from OkCupid on Wednesday. By now, I'm flirting with every fucking girl in this hostel. I'm making friends. I made friends with a dude named Rob, older guy who came down there to rediscover himself. He's working on a project. Me and Rob sat there in our dorm room having this amazing philosophical talk about life and everything. And such a cool dude from New York, older guy. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm helping him up. I'm building him up. He's building me up. Made a friendship with someone. Because I've realized whenever I've met new people, that like protective thing around me about like hating my childhood sense of self. When you were a kid and you would just walk up to someone and go, hi, I'm Mike, I'm 4. Want to be friends? That came back to me because I stopped beating the shit out of that kid inside of me. And I was making friends. Before I was always like, oh, I'm going to make friends with him. He's going to judge me. I'm going to fight him. Whatever. I was always on edge, always trying to protect myself. And I realized I had nothing to be afraid of. And I'm flirting with this hot fucking Dutch Arubian girl. I'm like, what? And I'm talking, and my energy is so different. They're responding back. I've kind of had like a rigid energy at times in my life, and I don't have that anymore. And this cute English girl, gorgeous, beautiful English girl, starts, hi, how are you? where are you from? Are you traveling alone? And I go, I am traveling alone. Like, it's back in 2017. What's going on? Hey, I'm traveling alone too. Would you like me to sit on your face and you can drink my pussy juice? She didn't say that. I in my mind, that's what she said, but she didn't say that. And I'm like, what the? So I set up time with her. I go on a date with this local girl, Pisa. She speaks English. Take her out, and right away, we just felt cool and comfortable making her laugh. And she's very reserved in a way, but like we had a great date night. And yeah, and I kissed her on the cheek, and amazing night, just beautiful fucking moment, man. Just with all the anxiety and pain gone, I got to be who I really want to be. And I've realized I've been this person when I've been in a moment in my life where I was very financially secure, which I've had very few of. Or this, which is when the stress of just, we're all, every day we're like, do I have enough money to pay for my kids? Do I have enough money to feed myself? Do I have enough money for my mortgage? I don't have enough to retire. With that feeling, that's not normal. It shouldn't be in us. It's forced on us by a degenerate system that puts us that way, okay? Through fear of financial ruin, through fear of poverty. And like, here's something I also realized when I was gone. Do you know that other fucking countries have like vacation days? Like the Europeans are guaranteed, you be a truck driver in the UK, you're guaranteed 25 paid vacation plus paid holidays, guaranteed them, time off or holiday pay, guaranteed. Afghanistan, you include paid holiday time off, which they gets 35 fucking days off. Afghanistan, by law, you get 25 paid leave days. Do you know what America is? 0. Burkina Faso, African country, 40. There are all these, we used to think it's just the Europeans. No, man. Countries throughout the world, no one lives like we do. And I meet people and they can't believe that if you get sick or hurt, you don't have health insurance, or even if you do, you get bankrupt. The idea of being bankrupted over medical bills we live in a state of fear and anxiety here, and I didn't have that anymore. It was gone. And it's forced on us by our government and these corporations. They do it on purpose so that we hate one another over liberal and conservative and all these divisions we have. They're designed to make us hate each other instead of the people hurting us. They want us in a state of permanent anxiety, because when you're in permanent anxiety, you can be controlled. You can be harmed and you can be hurt. Most of all, you can be weakened. You lose confidence in yourself. How many of us have image problems? How many of us have issues? I've been there. I know you guys listening, we all do. Issues with your body, they were all gone. I love myself, and when I loved myself before, and because I loved myself and I was fully at peace with myself, I can love others. Next night, things go better with this girl. Third night, they go even better. And I go, you make me happy. And she goes, you make me happy. And we had a connection. And for a while, I tried to fuck it up in my head, because I felt something I haven't felt with a woman in a very, very long time. And it fucking scared me, because I haven't ever felt it quite like this. Because at other times it was, there were toxic elements, but this was different. And, yeah, dude, it was wow. And it was something else. And I was like trying to, I do that. Men do this. You find something good and you try and fuck it up. You try and you're in you go, what if I dated it? And I'm like, dude, you're not dating her yet. Relax. But in my mind, I'm like, what if I fucking, dude, I cheated. Or, and this is what I did when I tried getting sober. I would picture myself getting drunk. I was like, I can't in the future. I would find future things that haven't happened to fuck me up. And my new brain is like, what are you doing? And eventually I realized, as the world is seeping back in, I can't be that full Buddha Zen Mike Bain. I can't. Only if I stayed there in the jungle, in that environment, could I. Living that kind of lifestyle. I could. But I'd give up a lot. I would give up my connection to my family. But it would be tough to come see him. But what has changed for me is that now, fuck, how do I put this, man? What has changed for me now is that when the anger comes, when these bad, I metabolize it, I deal with it, and I go back. I can recognize when I'm fucking up. And when I did come back to the U.S., I got very sick. It wasn't COVID, but I had to test negative to get back in the country. But I just got sick. I got the flu again. Fucked up. We're like bedridden for 5 days. And then I started using technology again, and it fucked me up. And I realized what happened. I now realize what happened. Because my brain was reset so much, dude, I had my first show. I didn't know if I could be funny again. I was so afraid that I wouldn't be funny now that I was healed. I was so zen, I wasn't even thinking of jokes. I had to re-listen to my entire act multiple times so I could do it at a show, and I felt distant. And the new me and the old me kind of had to merge. And I've been fighting not getting into bad habits. And I've realized I will have to go back and do the ayahuasca every several years or so, just to reboot myself. And I come back, and guess what? You motherfuckers, you have a new variant. When I left, there was just COVID. Now there's Omicron, which, by the way, is just the Greek letter O, alpha, beta, gamma, delta variant, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda. You've heard that one. Lambda, that's L. Mu, nu, xi. Omicron, you know that one, that's O. Pi, rho, sigma, tau, upsilon, phi, chi, psi, omega. It's the Greek fucking alphabet, guys. They just know you don't know it. So they're giving you, just like I was afraid of the things I was ignorant to when I came to Colombia, that I came to love, that weren't dangerous, that were just loving, beautiful people, healing me. They're using a language you don't know to scare you with letters. It's O. It's the softest letter. It's a soft consonant. O. You know why O looks like it does? Do it right now. O. Because your lips make that. It's the goofiest of all fucking letters. It looks as a letter the way your mouth sounds when you sound it out. Oh, that's the fucking letter, dude. It's not, Omicron ain't scary. It's also the least lethal variant to date. It's just the most contagious. Whatever. I know I don't want me to go on that. I'm just saying that, like, this fear, it's being forced in you. All right. And I had to deal with it. I immediately, I'm dealing with this. There's restrictions now in Boston. Anyone 5 and up, he needs to have a vaccine card. I'm like, shit. Now there's all this travel and stuff. I come back and it's politics and fighting again, all over again. And I'm like, and I'm trying to keep it at bay, and it periodically. And what happened was, because I started over again as like a 14-year-old, like I was saying in that way, my mind was so susceptible to video games and porn and social media that it fucked me up. I got in such a deep dopamine drip. And I thought I'd been protected, but in reality, I was so exposed to this. I didn't have it. My hardened callus wasn't there anymore, that it got addictive to me. And I got kind of in a loop of I've spent like 3 weeks trying to function again. And I'm finally back, like both of me. But, are we still there? Oh, here we go. And, dude, it fucked me up. Like, like, falling into social media and all this stuff. And but here's the beauty of the ayahuasca. It allows me to realize when I'm fucking up. It won't keep me from not fucking up. I still get angry. I still do this shit. I feel old habits trying to creep in. It just lets me know when they're happening. All right? That's what it does. That's what the ayahuasca does. And I'm planning a trip back to Colombia. I know you're like, Mike, you just got fucking back. Here's what's up for me. Me and Jason Cordova are working on a new podcast, relationship podcast. We're going to start hammering it out in January. I took this time to reboot myself because I needed time to reboot. I went through the biggest event in my entire fucking life. And, I was on my ass about it. And, I'm coming fucking back. I'm back, baby. And here I am. And, it's funny how much I've changed in that little bit of time. Also coming back, changing from like Zen me, if I had been on stage, there was a week there where I would have just sat in silence for 3 minutes and stared at the audience. And the reason I'm so happy to retell this is because whenever I relive this, it comes back to me. I lose it sometimes, and when I retell the story, it comes back. When I listen to the songs that Taita played to me, it comes back. When I listen to the sounds of the jungle, it comes back to me. I can't stay there forever. If any of you are looking for this and you want to do it, reach out. I highly recommend not doing it in a party environment. Do it with someone who knows what they're doing. Please don't do it on your own. You'll shit yourself and lay there in your own fucking shit. Also, how do I put this? Do it more than once. You're not going to get it all out. You're not going to get it all out in one time. Be prepared. Do it right. And go into it wanting to do it. Not everyone has the same experience. This is my experience. You won't have this experience. This was mine. No one has the same experience. I promise you. That's what makes this so amazing and powerful. And it's otherworldly, dude. I want to leave you with this. We all got something inside of us. A power beyond your knowledge. And you can tap into it if you want to. We don't have to live quiet lives of depression and anxiety and anger and hatred towards others or oneself, of constantly dealing with suicidal thoughts. I came back, and here's the thing. Some of you might think I'm fucking batshit crazy. You might just say, Mike's a ginger goofball who just tripped balls in the jungle with a bunch of fucking Colombian country bumpkins. All right, and that's all that happened. Fine. That's cool. I know what I went through and I know what I saw. But here's what I'll say to you. To the people who think I'm saying bullshit about spirituality or, that are still dialed into atheism or that just that American fucking Western attitude of skepticism and arrogance. I freed myself from an underlying anxiety. And I know we all have it. It's just there. I freed myself from it, dude. And whatever our society provides, it doesn't free you from it. Or else those celebrities, they wouldn't be killing themselves and doing crazy shit to feel good, overdosing, all that money and Anthony Bourdain and Mac Miller and Robin Williams and all the rest. Our civilization has yet to offer a solution because it created the problem to begin with. They make you sick mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And then they profit off of the bullshit cures that they pretend will help you. They won't, man. Taking pills to deal with depression ain't ever going to fix you. I'm sorry, but they won't. You can do it. It's hard. But there are ways out. I came back and I'm in New Hampshire, and one day I went to the woods and I danced while I listened to music on a whole trail. I danced my fucking balls off. Eventually, I took a video of me dancing with my shirt off, holding a stick, man. Dude, I'm not fucking around. I danced in the woods, walking the entire time. I fucking hiked. I didn't know it was a thing. I invented dance hiking. I did it. And I videotaped myself. And right as I turn it off, this guy, of course, I'm in the woods alone. Guy walks around with the dog, goes, "Hi, how you good?" I go, "Oh, what's up?" Dude, watch me. Because when watching me without music, I got my AirPods in. It looks like I'm spasming. It looks like I'm losing my mind. Looks like what I thought would happen on that third night ayahuasca. And he's like, "Oh, it's cold. Pretty cold out here for me." And I go, I heat up when I'm walking. And he goes, yeah. I go, it's a good day for walking. I go, it's a beautiful day to be alive. And he goes, it is. It's a fine winter's day, isn't it? I go, it's a fine day, sir, and it's a fine life. He goes, yeah. And I get back to dancing, man. I realized all my life I thought Mike Bain couldn't fucking dance. I can dance. I just never had the confidence to. I was always too self-conscious or filled with anxiety to do it. And I let it go and I fucking danced my balls off. Any anxiety I had about making friends, I lost. I made friends. I talked to beautiful women. And even those little vestiges that would still fuck up your confidence that you'd have to, they were gone. I go, look at me. I became the person I always wanted to be. And what I've realized is that I'm gonna have to fight tooth and nail to not go back to the person I once was. But because of what I went through, I can at least hold it off to a certain degree or fight it. And, shit. That's my story, dude. Shit. 3 hours. Fuck. I didn't want it to be this long. God damn. All right. I might split this into 2 parts. We'll see what happens, dude. I'm gonna make it 2-parter. I don't fucking, because if you guys see 3 hours, you're just gonna be like, no, I'm not listening to Mike talk for 3 hours. Anyway, wow. I don't think if I can leave you with anything. Yeah, this was fun. I'm back. I'm going to be doing, because there were more things there were some other fucking weird things that have happened to me since I've come back that have really tested me. Like, fucking, I'll tell you about them on another podcast, because God fucking damn, dude. You know, world got crazy again, excuse me. As if it ever stopped being fucking crazy. And it hit me, and I was like, God fucking damn, this shit. It's hitting me again, dude. Why? Come back to America. It's just like comedy shows are being canceled. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know where I'm going to go, man. I don't know if I move to Texas, I'm going to start a new life in Colombia, or I'm going to stay here. World is wide open. And for the first time ever, I realized I could be whatever I wanted to be. That the limitations that I thought were put on me by society may have been hinted at and encouraged by society that I'm not I realized I don't have to just work a manual labor job. I can be what I want to fucking be, and any limitations on me have been put there by myself. They may have been encouraged by the world I live in or by other people in my life, but I let them stay there. Now they're off, motherfucker. And it's taken me a while to like merge back in and do all this again. And it's been tough. I know you guys are thinking, I had a friend be like, you forgot how to live in 1 month. Fuck, in 1 week. I'm never going to be able to explain it fully. But feel free to write in, question me about it, whatever, man. Something happened out there. And remember how I started this podcast with that fear that when you do hallucinogens, you might change? Yeah. Not always a bad thing. When we're young, we're afraid of change, which is weird because you're supposed to change. You're supposed to change. If you're 18 and you're afraid of change, that's fine. But 18-year-old you has to change. You don't want to be who you were at 18, raising a kid at 40. You don't want to be 18-year-old you fucking fought, drinking 30 Busch Lights and then going out with your girlfriends and being a whore and shitting your fucking drawers, shitting your pants as you're so fucking drunk you shit your pants or wake up in a police station. You don't want to be doing that when you're a mom with 3 kids at 35, 36, 37. You're supposed to change. You ever see a guy who's a grown-ass man who acts like he's fucking 16 still? It's sad, isn't it? Why is it sad? Because he didn't change. So stop fearing change. Some change can be bad. A fucking heroin addiction is change, and it's bad. But if you put the fucking work in, and it ain't easy, motherfucker, but life ain't supposed to be easy. You're supposed to be taught that. And we're supposed to go through ceremonies that make us into men and women, and we don't do that. And we don't teach ourselves about death. You're going to die. You're going to hurt. That's life, though. And everything is everything, and the yin and yang are one and together. In our culture, what we do is we try and get rid of all the bad feelings and just feel good feelings. I need to, I don't want to hear those opinions. Everything is everything, motherfucker. You don't get the good without the bad, because if you don't have the bad, you have nothing to compare the good to, and vice versa. All right? So, roll with it. It's supposed to hurt. It's gonna hurt. You're gonna fucking die. So what? It's just a fucking doorway, man. And if you play your cards right, you do the work now, whatever comes after, whatever you think it's going to be, it'll be a transmutation to something better. If you worked on you in this life, if you didn't, then it won't be. So do the fucking work. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I got to piss and I've talked myself into a corner. Thank you for listening. Get your act together. I'm happy to be back, and I'm looking forward to everything to come. Peace.